ain't never gonna stop. The devil's in the details, the devil's doing well. Getting up pace from the gates of hell. It's getting to the point where enough is enough. And a little too much of mine, a little too much. A little too much of mine, a little too much. Turn a wide screen window to the world. Never have to leave the house. Got a wide screen window to the world. Wonder how I live without. It's a little too late. A little too late. A little too late to take back now. That's right. Go pour from my fire to my head, to my heart, to my phone, to my car, to my bed. Gotta stay connected, gotta stay aware. Doesn't really matter if I don't really care. It's getting to the point where enough is enough, and a little too much of mine, a little too much. A little too much of mine, a little too much. Got the wide screen window to the world. Never have to leave the house. Got a wide screen window to the world. Wonder how I live without. It's a little too late. A little too late. A little too late to take back now. A little too late. A little too late. A little too late. To take back now. No, a little too much of mine, a little too much. A little too much of mine, a little too much. A little too much of mine, a little too much. A little too much of mine, a little too much.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Tyler.
Excuse me, it's not Tyler. Tyler back there in the studio. That is
Tyler was commenting on how much he liked that.
I know.
that's Trevor Finley.
Do we have time for a 90s?
He's over at the floor of Bama. We got time for anything. We can go.
You
on
got
all
time
day.
to give us a little 90s cover?
I don't know.
Nice. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, he says.
We have a guy who plays music on our staff, Rockstar, and he always loves it when we tell him one song, and then out of nowhere we tell him, "Hey, would you play one more song for us?"
He was hoping like Dr. Feelgood or something.
I don't know if we have time though.
Oh, we don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we don't
We
have
can
time.
hear him at the Floribama Lounge.
Tell us where Trevor is this weekend again, Brownie.
Trevor's across the street at the Floribama gym.
And tonight he's up in the songwriter room.
Songwriter room. He will be at the
Room.
Dome Saturday, Sunday. I also want to remind you, get your tickets early for Alabama's Bulls on the Beach. This is an incredible event. Bring the entire family out. The ultimate adrenaline rush. 3 nights of live rodeo action featuring professional bull riders from all over the country. A portion of the proceeds from this event will go to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Almost sold out. Get your tickets right now at floribama.com.
And Trevor, the chance to be part of the live recording is the Saturday and Sunday shows down in the Dome, right?
That's right. It's going to be full band. It's going to be electric and a really, really good time.
All right. We appreciate you spending the morning with us here. Thank you so much. We got about a minute left, Brownie. Let's knock out some more of the 3 guarantees here that we started the show with. Again, if we didn't get to all of them, we apologize. We'll try to get as many as we can on next week.
Will says defensive player wins the Heisman. Auburn has a 1,000-yard rusher and receiver. Arch Manning gets his first start in Atlanta. Gary says Milroe wins the Heisman. Clemson advances 1 round of Ohio State.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Back from the Friday show at the Floribama, if you were on the replay there, you were hearing that. Back in college football, back to what could be a legendary year of the landmine. I mean, by a bazillion SMU is going to beat Nevada.
You only have to watch the second half.
Going to motorboat them. I went 0-2. Did anybody cover?
All 4 dogs.
I mean, did any of the favorites cover this weekend?
No, all 4 dogs. Delaware, if we're going backwards, Delaware State, Nevada, New Mexico, and Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Woo. The dogs are out early. That Delaware State thing, we'll get to the games you watch. Nobody watched Delaware State, I'm sure. But
I was in the sheets.
Yeah,
Delaware
out
State
like a light.
could not charter, so they were trying to fly from the first state in the union to the 50th state in the union commercially.
I bet that went well.
And if you've ever tried to fly commercially in the last 18 to 24 months in America, it's been a crap show.
Yeah, really not as simple as the process used to be.
So what was, I think, 3 big groups of Delaware State players eventually got down to some of them flying individually to get to Hawaii, and some of them were arriving in less than 18 hours before kick. So that number, which was huge, people were like, I don't even know if all their players are going to make it. Who's going to dress out for the game? Some of their players may not even make it to the stadium. And Hawaii had to go on a 21-0 run just to beat Delaware State, who was, hey, my helmet didn't make it.
We don't have any shoulder pads.
Well, this is going to be one of those years, and you see it every year. We saw it last year, even 2 years ago when TCU made a run and played for the national championship. The transfer portal is the ultimate equalizer, and it also it causes for so much parity right now in college football, because you've got not only a 39.5-point dog with Delaware State, you had a 27.5-point dog with Nevada, who really should have won the game.
Should have won the game outright.
Complete meltdown late.
Yeah.
I almost did it. I almost did it because of what happened in the first game. I was sitting there. I was like, plus 4,400. What would it hurt at mybookie.ag just to throw $5 on that?
That's all right. What would that have paid you, Jimmy?
I don't know. $4,400
well,
for $5.
It wouldn't have paid you anything because they didn't win.
Yeah.
New head coach at Nevada.
2-10 last year, by the way.
Nevada. Yeah, the same with New Mexico was awful, and Bronco Mendenhall comes over, and they have every opportunity to win that game against Montana State. And then obviously the biggest one I know we'll get to more in depth, in Georgia Tech over in Dublin, and the team that, the only thing, and I gave out Tech plus the points, the only thing that scared me about this game was Florida State bottling all that pent-up aggression and coming out and saying, on the national stage, this is why you should have put. It's a different team, I get that, but chip on shoulder, this is why we should have been in the college football playoff.
Well, let's get into all of that, and we'll start with the first day game in the morning, Florida State and Georgia Tech. It is brought to you by the Pants Store. Your game day headquarters, and we've got game days now, baby, so it's time to dress like it. Pants Store, Birmingham, Huntsville, Leeds, Tuscaloosa, Auburn. Get the best in Auburn and Alabama polos and hats and quarter zips. From Horn Legend, Cutter and Buck, Antigua, Gentile, and ladies, we got the Hoka, New Balance, and Western boot footwear, the rompers and the dresses. And here's the best part: you want the fit to fit right. You want it to drip, as the kids say. Still,
you want it to drip.
Free alterations to make that fit just right. Free gift wrapping as well. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store, pantstore.com, pantstore.com. I'm going to make an observation quickly. It was more so with SMU, but I thought a little bit with Florida State first. And I made this point on Dunaway After Dark last night. I want y'all's reaction.
Okay.
I thought the in-helmet communication, especially with SMU, but I think a little bit with Florida State too, slowed their offenses down a little bit, because you had a lot. You could just tell there was a lot of talking going on in the helmet, and I don't think SMU ever played at the pace they wanted to, and I think it slowed Florida State down. I sent that to Danny Cannell today. I said, I think the in-helmet communication slowed Florida State down. Before I do my show, do you think that is possible? And he said, unfortunately, Jim, I think that was their game plan.
Was to slow it down?
Was to play it at that pace, which to me is a Mike Norvell mistake to try to play at that slower pace, because I thought that fit into what Georgia Tech wants to do.
Yeah, I just don't think Florida State knows their personnel right now. Trey Benson's such a big loss now with the Arizona Cardinals out of that backfield. Obviously, Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson, big wide receivers. And I said the most important thing going into this game was Georgia Tech's got a better quarterback. And I brought this up. Brown and I talked about it during the game on Saturday. We were watching at the Old River Grill. I said, you switch quarterbacks.
It's not close.
Florida State is a hell of a team, I think, with Haynes King.
They had Haynes King.
Now,
it's a blowout, right?
Well, yeah.
I would think so.
So last year, Florida State able to get after the quarterback, and we'll see what this pass rush is this year. But I pointed out Jared Verse and Braden Fisk are big losses off that defense. 0 sacks on Saturday. Now, Haynes King helps out with that, the fact that he can improvise and he's so mobile. But I just don't think Florida State really knew their offense. You could tell Mike Norvell does not trust DJU at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
the longest pass, 21 yards.
Yeah, and you saw the stat at halftime. If you were watching, if you stuck around for halftime, it showed his completion, which at the time I think it was 12 of 14.
Yeah.
But his air yards per attempt were negative.
That's right.
I don't think I've ever seen that. Negative air yards per attempt.
0.1, I think the graphic
Yeah,
said. Negative 0.1.
Negative 0.1 air yards per attempt. I mean, they throw nothing downfield. And you're not going to win football games with that situation. I mean, DJ Uiagalelei looked like an 8-4 quarterback for them. I mean, they're already 0-1. He looked like an 8-4 quarterback for them.
But you know, Jalen Milroe will be in his second year as the starter, right? Peyton Thorne will be in his fourth year as a starter, second year at Auburn. You know, we can react certain ways to some of these. Some people will be new starters. And we'll wait and see what Cade Klubnik looks like with Clemson. But DJ Uiagalelei looked like DJ Uiagalelei, whether he was in Clemson orange, Oregon State orange, or Seminole garnet. He looked the same.
Same guy.
Why were we surprised?
I don't know. You know, I thought he was the best fit in Jonathan Smith's offense when it really is all about running the football. The best we have ever seen DJ look was that first night he ever started against Notre Dame. And I said in the offseason, he is an 8-win quarterback.
I don't know how all this went down. Zach in the mybookie.ag chat room says they should have gotten TJ Finley instead of DJ Uiagalelei.
Right.
I would go another J, like KJ Jefferson. I don't know if it was close. KJ Jefferson, if you're not keeping up now at Central Florida with Gus Malzahn. Guy's already moving to Florida. KJ Jefferson and that offense would have been different.
See, KJ Jefferson is a guy, I think there's high ceiling, low floor, because he is a guy that can turn it over a lot. DJ was really good at protecting the football last year, and I guess Mike Norvell brought him in thinking, you know what, we're going to have a dominant defense in the ACC. I just need an experienced quarterback, by the way, making his 41st collegiate start this past Saturday in Dublin. I just need a guy that's not going to make mistakes. Guys will make plays around him. The problem is I don't know if you've got those playmakers this year, and DJ is not a quarterback that's going to win you a game. I will say the last drive he had when he converted the 2 fourth downs, he made some good throws.
He did.
But that was the best he looked all day.
This happens, okay? And if you're a Georgia Tech fan and you're watching, I know our buddy Poochie, big Georgia Tech supporter over in Atlanta, was going to tune in for us to talk positive about Georgia Tech. It happens when you're a number 10 team in the country and you lose to an unranked team. We often spend so much time talking about what the number 10 team didn't do and not enough about what the team that was unranked did do. So I will tell you this. I was so surprised, like you mentioned, LT, the best defensive line in the country, Florida State, some people were saying. They lost some people, but they had replaced them with some people. Georgia Tech manhandled them, I thought, on both sides of the ball. DJ, all due respect, we can trash him if we want. He didn't have a ton of time.
He didn't.
Those Georgia Tech guys, that new defensive coordinator for them, Santucci, I think's his name, from Duke, he chose not to go with Mike Elko, decided, hey, if I keep following Mike Elko, people are going to think it's the Mike Elko defense, so I'm going to get my own, go to Georgia Tech, and his stock went straight up. That Georgia Tech defense, after that first drive, and another landmine, and this is a side note, Maggie was packing to go to Duke, and I walked downstairs, and she's like, so you got great college football all day? And I said, really? Only this first game, because SMU's going to kill Nevada later on. Didn't happen. Only this first game. And I said, I think it's about to be a blowout because Florida State's just gone down the field. Boom, boom, boom. It's 8-0. Even got a 2-point conversion. Rubbed it in their face. Took the little Georgia Tech dog and rubbed the nose in the poop right there. 8-0. And she goes, oh, it's going to be a blowout. And I said, yeah, they just walked down the field. I don't think Georgia Tech's going to be able to keep up with them. And then I go back upstairs after making my sandwich, and I'm like, okay, we got a football game now. That first drive, I thought Florida State was going to kill them. Then that Georgia Tech defense locked down, and they were just unbelievable. And I don't think, in my opinion, Georgia Tech, they got 0 breaks in that game, man. 2 bomb of field goals from Florida State, a swinging gate, swinging door, 2-point conversion, a safety, all that to keep Florida State tied until the game-winning field goal. I mean, they were hitting bomb field goals. They got a safety and a 2-point conversion, or it wouldn't have been close.
If I told you coming into this game as an 11.5-point favorite that Florida State doesn't turn it over, they have 1 penalty, and Haynes King has 0 touchdowns, What do you think this final score is? 1 penalty, no turnovers, and Haynes King 0 touchdowns with 37
blowout,
last year.
About the normal game we get in Ireland, which is a blowout, not a fun game.
Yeah.
I mean,
and here's what's crazy is I think Brent Key has really improved this program. I think they've got some players, and for Jamal Haynes and Haynes King, guys like that not to leave in the portal, I think that says something about the culture he's building. I still think they lose 5 games.
Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
Well, the end of their schedule's brutal. I mean,
Their last 5 games.
Yeah, their last 5 games are absolutely brutal. I think they can get off to a really good start. But again, Lance, I mean, 7-5, if that program's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, 7-6 last year. I mean, but after winning that game, you want them to be in contention
I
for the
agree,
ACC.
but they're not going to be. But back-to-back 7 wins, that's something they haven't done in quite a while.
The river dance is always good
I know.
in Dublin.
Where I would credit Brent Key, too, in his coaching and being a mature coach even early on, as you mentioned, Florida State runs the swinging gate to go for 2.
That's what it scared me, having Georgia Tech plus points.
Georgia Tech was almost as unprepared for it as ESPN was, who completely missed the play because they were showing replay. But Brent Key, when Georgia Tech goes back down and scores, you know what he doesn't do? He doesn't get sucked into that game. Brent Key says, we're going to be who we are. We're going to kick the extra point. It is middle of the first quarter. Being down 1 is not going to screw this game up for us. I am not going to get caught chasing points just because Mike Norvell had a good play that we weren't ready for.
And by the way, I felt a lot better after Tech went down first possession, no third down conversions at all. Yeah. I mean, just gashed that Florida State defense.
I know. So I credit Brent Key for that. You know, it's a pet peeve of mine, chasing points.
Right.
But especially once your opponent has done it in the first quarter, there's no reason to start going in and chasing him. And Brent Key didn't get sucked into that.
Yeah, and LT said Mike Norvell doesn't know what this Florida State team's personality is yet. Brent Key knows.
That's right.
What his team's personality is. Let's get some reaction from that game, from Brent Key and stuff, right after Brownie tells us about our friends at johnsonrvcenter.com, johnsonrvcenter.com.
So today is the 26th. You've got basically the rest of this week until kickoff to take care of your tailgate needs, and Johnson RV Center is the place to do it. End of the season pricing right now, into the summer pricing at Johnson RV Center. What about a new or pre-owned travel trailer starting at just $14,995? You want a fifth wheel? They start as low as $397 a month. They got that great warranty to back them up. You can see more at johnstonrvcenter.com or I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator, johnstonrvcenter.com.
Again, knowing your personality. This is an amazing stat because it was the first thing Mike Norvell said afterwards. Just not a lot of possessions. 14 possessions in that game, the fewest number of possessions in an FBS game since November 28th, 2020.
It's crazy. 7 drives per team. You know, the average in the NFL is right around 11. I've never seen this in college football, ever.
Yeah. I mean, not even the Army-Navy game the last couple of years has been that few possessions. When they just run the ball.
Well, that's why, because on the surface, you look at this, and you know, Furman talked about he liked the under, and I told Brown before the game started I liked the over, but I stayed away from it. The pace was there. It's just they didn't have the possessions. And I was going to make this point that Florida State's defense was dominant in the ACC last year. I don't think their defense is very good. I don't think Georgia Tech has got a very good defense. Watching SMU, I know they won the American last year on defense. They didn't look to have a good defense. So when you really start to play this out, I know it's week 1, but everybody talks about Clemson and what they've got defensively coming back. If that's the only dominant defense in the ACC, they got to be your favorite.
Yeah, my playoff pick is Clemson.
Looks good right now.
Here is Brent Key. Remember, he was the interim coach. They took that tag off. He's now 5-0 against ACC-ranked teams, and he talks about the win over Florida State with a huge trophy. I don't know where you put it. It's just a regular season win, but a huge
Georgia Tech's trophy case gets prominent placement right now.
Huge. Looks like they won the national championship in the future. Here's Georgia Tech's Brent Key.
We're not trying to prove anything to anyone. We're not trying to go out and impress people. All we're doing is trying to play as hard as we can possibly play together as a team, as a family we have in that locker room. And I was confident this week. I was confident because of the plan that was put together and the progress I've seen made really from the start of the year until now. And we talk about execution with our football team, and what execution is, that's the confidence to go make a play. Right, whether you're a quarterback, whether you're an offensive lineman and the ball's on the 1 yard line and they're going to run behind you, whether you're a corner making a play on a ball in a man-to-man situation, or you're a kicker at the end of the game to win the football game. Credit to Mike Norvell for having his team come over here and have them prepared to come here and play a football game. But really happy for our people, really happy for the ACC and what this league is, and for other people to see that as well.
You know when I low-key thought that this was going to be a good game? Even before it kicked. When they come on and they start talking about the trip to Ireland, and at one point they said, Florida State plans to stay over tomorrow for a sightseeing day after today's game. And I'm like, well, that seems a little overly confident. The old sightseeing day after the game.
They did. They went to Guinness.
They
toured
I'm sure
the Guinness
they did.
facilities.
Once you plan it, you got to do it. But I'm just like,
boy, that's tough. 0-1 in the ACC already.
This is not a bowl game where when the game's over, the season's over, so we can spend an extra day and nobody's. This is a regular season game, and it felt like you were planning like, hey, we're going to go over there, we're going to win, we're going to spend an extra day sightseeing after we.
Well, I tell you, Guinness might have got the best exposure.
Oh my God!
Any product over this past week, and it's so funny to see the difference in a decade because ESPN used to back away from gambling, and now it's ESPN Bet, ESPN Bet, ESPN Bet. They used to back away from alcohol. I think almost every one of their personalities that was over there was drinking on the air.
They were passing it around.
Yeah, I mean,
it was the joke. It was the joke on even with Joe Tess with Matt Berry back in the studio. I'm told the Jameson count was really high last night, the Jameson shots, and it was the Guinness,
and then he drinks one and passes it down to the cameraman.
I guess it was just ESPN because I was listening to our buddy Tom Luganbill and Barrett Salee yesterday, and Barrett Salee's still over there, or was at least yesterday, and he was talking about, pre-game, the Guinnesses that were coming out and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did they have it in the press box?
Maybe so. It's Ireland, man.
Maybe so. They do in the NFL press boxes. I know that. All right, to the SMU game. But I'll tell you, Tyler Booker in the next segment, we'll talk to the Alabama offensive lineman, the captain, the permanent captain, and all that. He's in our next segment. He'll join us at 9:25 all season long, and we look forward to talking to our buddy Tyler Booker again later on. Joel Klatt with us at 10:25. But quickly to the SMU, and we'll get back to these games and get your best and worst of the weekend. But SMU. What were they, a 27?
27.5.
Well, I think it dropped down, right? Did it not drop down or go off at 27.5?
It opened at 21.5. To start Saturday morning, it was 26.5. Up by kick, it was 27.5.
It took them finally having a mismatch with R.J. Maryland, the big tight end, and getting him downfield with a linebacker covering him. That's the only way they won the game. That was their only offense late, getting R.J. Maryland open.
Well, Russell Maryland's kid can play, and he's got that catch radius. I didn't think Preston Stone looked all that good Saturday.
Did not.
I didn't think their defense looked good, but R.J. Maryland was the one guy that really jumped, and, they outscore Nevada 16-0 in the fourth quarter. Boy, that would have been a terrible loss because your biggest fear from SMU is transferring from the American or coming into the ACC and being a little overwhelmed. If you were to lose to a 10-2 team out of conference week one,
a 2-10 team?
2-10 team.
Yeah.
It almost reminds you of what happened with Oklahoma State and South Alabama last year.
Yeah. I mean, there was so much in that game. Like, SMU looked out of sorts. They looked a bit undisciplined. I still don't know. They never had a good view of if the kid spit on a player or not. He was obviously saying, I didn't spit on him.
But the ACC officiating crew said he did.
Yeah, I know that was an ACC crew. They threw the kid out of the game. It just was an undisciplined-looking team.
Hands to the face.
Yeah, I mean, there was just a lot in that game. But Nevada melted down. I mean, that's on them. You make the mistake on the kickoff, the fair catch, gives you the ball at the one. You run from the shotgun out of your own end zone, which, boy, I do not get that
begging
one.
for a safety.
It's begging for a safety.
I mean, at that point when he lined up, I was like, well, good. They're just going to sling it downfield.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Just intercept it. It's like a punt.
Throw it up and hope your defense can play.
Yeah, pass interference.
Yeah,
maybe roughing the pass.
Hey, by the way, a lot of pass interference in that game. That was a good roll of the dice.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing there.
11 penalties, -1 in turnovers. They had 0 sacks. The time of possession, over 36 minutes for Nevada.
Oh, they couldn't stop Nevada.
Yeah, just under 24 minutes for SMU. And I heard Rat Lashley after the game, and I don't know if you guys agree. Can you be over-prepared? He's like, I think we've got a really good football team. I just think we were over-prepared.
You've had all summer.
Yeah,
I guess so.
I wouldn't look like it.
Disagree. I thought he was underprepared.
Yes.
All right, Tyler Booker, next segment. One more thing this segment after LT tells us about our friends at Milo's.
Oh, think about for lunch today. I can smell the onions on a delicious Milo's burger right now. September is the month for hunger awareness. Did you know, and this is a sad number, 73% of people in Central Alabama have to choose between food and medicine. Milo's Hamburgers has joined the fight against hunger and is inviting us to do the same. All Milo's restaurants will serve as drop locations for food supplies for the Food Bank of Central Alabama from September the 4th 4th to September the 20th. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, you get a free regular drink. Together, we can make a difference. Get in today to one of those great, outstanding locations of Milo's Hamburgers.
Walker says, "You're killing me, LT. I'd do anything for a Milo's to open up in Dallas-Fort Worth." Walker, I don't have any good news for you.
Stay tuned. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
All right. Tyler Booker next, but as we go to break here, big news announced. Rockstar's not here today. He's got a little vacation time. Tyler's doing all the amazing stuff behind the board. Lunceford is back. Glad to have him back healthy, back on the back row. Forrester is back there. So they're one man down, but the plus one is coming soon. They did gender reveal. Cord does it? Oh, it's a cut. Okay, I apologize. Cut number 8. Thought it was just a video. That's on me. In-helmet communication. It's got me thrown off.
This is why we work all summer long.
I was underprepared.
Rest of them angels, Jim.
Let's watch the Henniger family. Nancy, beautiful Nancy to the left. Cord has got the gender reveal gun, and Rockstar is trying to help him pull the trigger after Rockstar already has. Here we go. Let's do it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Oh, little tears from
company.
Rockstar. Yep.
Yeah, he didn't look too pumped, did he?
No, they're crying. Little Cord's happy that the gun went off.
Yeah, let's do that again.
Technically, so is Rockstar. It's a baby girl coming for Rockstar. Congratulations to Nancy and Rockstar. So happy for his expanding family. We'll talk to Tyler Booker when we come back right here on The Next Round.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com. Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or michelson-laservision.com.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
our new handy sheet, college football worksheet that we send out every Sunday and send it Monday and Friday for you. Feel free to use it. And go to covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com, our new team sites, to enjoy all the coverage. Just start out $1. $1 gets you in on the team sites there. 6 p.m., under the setting sun, and then the lights in the second half. Western Kentucky and Alabama, a new era of Alabama football is what they'll say. I think the goal is to make it the same era of Alabama football with a new head coach. I don't know, but let's ask somebody about that.
Well, I bet he knows. Tyler Booker is with us, the Alabama offensive lineman. Will join us every Monday at 9:25. Good to see you again, my man. How are you?
I'm great. Good to be back on with you guys. How have y'all been?
Man, we've been fantastic. In a lot of ways, it feels like an eternity since that Michigan game out in the Rose Bowl with all that has gone on. Does it feel the same way for you?
Oh, yeah. It feels so long ago. And honestly, we just got to put that game in the past and go on and focus on Western Kentucky this weekend.
Well, I know. All right, coach speak already from you, Tyler. but a lot has happened in this offseason. So I know it will feel good to get back on the field and do what Jim was talking about, is show that for all the doubters that say, well, the dynasty's over, the programs or whatever, that is not the case for Alabama football.
Of course, and everybody thinks that Coach Saban is gone. Coach Saban being gone, that means that we're going to be not the same, but like the standard lives through us, and that's what Coach Saban instilled in us. My 2 years of being there, and then some of the other guys on the team, like Malachi, he's going into his 5th year. Hugh Robinson, Tim Smith. So the standard lives on through us. So, yeah, that's Alabama football is still going to be played this Saturday at 6 p.m. Nothing has changed from that aspect.
Tyler,
there's going to be a different guy calling the plays.
We heard one of the bigger differences was the music at practice. I don't know if we ever got to the bottom of this, but Emily Grace McWhorter, our sideline reporter, was down at fall camp. She was going to try to find out who chooses the playlist. Do you have any idea who chooses the playlist for you guys?
I don't know, but we need a few more songs up there because there's one song from the 80s that plays every day. Like as soon as we walk on the field, and it feels like Groundhog Day. I'm like, man, especially during camp.
We noticed there was a ton of 80s music in the playlist. That's why we assumed maybe it was Kalen DeBoer himself putting that list together.
More than likely it's him, but I didn't want to throw him under the bus, so you brought it up.
It's not something crazy like "Wake Me Up Before You Go." Nothing crazy like that, right?
It's close. It's close to some of that.
Yeah, I think it was like the Gap Band. You dropped the bomb on me or something.
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask you. I'm known for making things awkward, so I'll try not to do that here. But you look fabulous.
Oh wow!
Tell me about your body shape here. Is this a different off season for you? Do you feel in a different place than you were, say, this time last year?
Definitely, I definitely do. I've lost about 15 pounds since last season. I feel great. I'm moving a lot better. I really just focused on losing weight and fixing my body composition just because I looked at the NFL. Like, not many people play at 350 and play for a long time. So it's all about longevity. And then another byproduct of me losing the weight is I feel a lot better. So I'm really excited to go into the season with this newfound athleticism.
Tyler Booker is with us. You may get some carries with that newfound athleticism. Tyler with us on the JohnsonRVCenter.com hotline. You are playing for a new position coach, Chris Kapilovic. Comes in as part of this staff. What will the fans notice a difference? What difference is there in the way he approaches offensive line play to maybe the way you've done it in the past?
Coach Cap is really focused on scheme. So I feel like what fans are going to see, we're going to have a much deeper understanding of the scheme. We're going to be assignment perfect, and Coach Cap brings the juice, something that he's carried along with his other schools that he's been at is the juice squad. So we're bringing the juice squad to Alabama.
The juice squad is what, Tyler? Please tell us about this.
So the juice squad, pretty much what that means, like the offensive line has to set the tone for any football team. And he sees setting the tone as juice, so we're the juice squad. So we're going to be the tone setters for the team, as it should be.
Well, tell us about the new quarterback on that offensive line, Parker Brailsford. I mean, we know he had an incredible sophomore campaign last year in Seattle, en route, to being an all Pac-12 guy, playing for a national championship. But what has he been like as a teammate?
Parker is essentially a coach on the field for us. Since he's played in that scheme for 2 years previously, he understands what Coach DeBoer is looking for. He understands the purpose of the play. And actually, when Parker just got here, I had him come over and the rest of the offensive line, had my girlfriend make some food, and we just watched a bunch of Washington film. And he was like, okay, this is what this play is. So when he said, like, okay, let's say this is inside zone, he called it something. I was like, okay, guys, this is what we called it last year, and this is what it is now. So really, he's really been a coach on the field and very helpful. And it also helps that he's super talented too, super explosive. And I can't wait to play a real game with him.
Yeah, that happens this weekend. Tyler Booker is with us. We'll be talking with him at 9:25 every Monday throughout the college football season. And you get extended coverage over at covercrimson.com, covercrimson.com throughout the year as well. When you think about Alabama history, permanent captain, to get that honor, man, tell me when they named the captains and it was you four guys and you were one of them, how did that hit home for you?
It was a huge honor, and I feel like God gives everybody their own special talents, and I feel like the special talent that God has given me is my ability to become a leader in the way that I become a leader. So I'm very strategic and intentional in everything that I do. So when I first got to Alabama, I knew that I wanted to be one of those permanent captains. So from the jump, I hung around the leaders, I hung around the older guys, and I kind of played the role in the back and just saw how they did things, saw how they conducted themselves. So when it was my time, I would know how to lead and add my own spin on being a leader. And I just like to shout out Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, even Malachi Moore, guys like that who have shown me what it takes to be a leader at the University of Alabama, and to be recognized as a leader by the rest of my teammates is a huge honor.
That is an amazing attitude. I know a lot of people love that. I do want to ask you about a guy that when it's been ones-on-ones, I assume you've seen a little bit of him. I am told LT Overton has had a nice camp. When you've gone against LT Overton, what has that been like?
Oh man, LT, he's just a dog. He's a great pass rusher. He gets me so much better whenever we go at it, and he keeps me on my toes, because what people don't realize, like, they see offensive linemen like, oh, set, punch, hold them, and just play basketball with them at that point. But there's a lot more to it. So LT, he catches me whenever I'm doing the same set, same punt, same routine over and over again. So he really forces me to get out of my comfort zone and try new things, because if I go out there and do the same old, LT is going to get me. And I definitely think he's gotten a lot better over fall camp. He's gotten me better along fall camp, and he's really gotten the defensive line as a whole better through fall camp. So I'm really excited to see him perform. And then also guys like Tim Smith, Tim Keenan, some of the older guys in that room. Like, it's just been a really fun camp for me, because obviously I have all the physical intangibles, but they have really made me focus even more on the mental side of the game and really playing the game within the game, of changing up my set, changing up my punches. And that's just to their knowledge and them being at Alabama for a few years. But I'm very excited to see all those guys ball out this weekend.
You know, Nick Saban was super involved with the defensive backs in the past, and you always hear about Kalen DeBoer and how involved he is with the quarterbacks from Fresno State to Washington. How much of a difference have you noticed in fall camp with the one-on-one that DeBoer spends with the quarterbacks, and especially Jalen Milroe, as opposed to what you saw with Nick Saban with the quarterbacks?
To make a long story short, all the 50-50 calls go the offense's way, which is a nice change from my previous 2 years.
That's perfect.
That is really good. So you're finally the fair child. You're finally the child that the parent likes better, right?
Yeah, no longer the stepchild.
All right, he is Tyler Booker, the Alabama offensive lineman. 6 o'clock Saturday night from Bryant-Denny Stadium on ESPN as Western Kentucky comes to open the season in the Kalen DeBoer era. Tyler, we wish you all the best, man. It's fun. We can't wait to see you and talk about the game next Monday.
Thank you. Talk to y'all Monday. Roll Tide.
All right, buddy. Take care. Tyler Booker with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline every Monday at 9:25.
He does look a lot better. I know you didn't want the awkward transition or whatever, asking about his body. You know, it's funny. I was reading an article, and I don't know if you guys saw this on USC, and what they're trying to implement with bigger bodies. And they've got guys on 4,500 calorie counts per day.
Oh, I wish I was on one of those.
Can you imagine that?
I wish I was.
And,
sadly, I think I am.
You know, guys like Booker are going backwards, but boy, it'd be nice to be able to just pound 4,500 calories.
Hide Your Live will help you get. You guys are just back from the floor of Bama, just like I am. Hide Your Live gets you back to that level point with their hydration and a lot more.
Yeah, IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, it's all under one roof. Hide Your Life Therapy is open daily, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. 2 locations in Birmingham, the Homewood location, the original there, Highway 119 in Greystone. Also a Tuscaloosa location. Very important when you go in there, mention the next round. You're going to get 20% off any of those great services. Also, members rewarded with deep discounts, save up to 50% off regular pricing for all services, plus receive one free IV bag per month. Basically, recoup that IV membership fee in just one visit. Stop into one of those locations, mention the next round, or online, hydrolivetherapy.com.
All right. How can I say this without being offensive?
Oh, wow. Can't wait to hear the rest of this sentence.
Right.
There was a moment as everything was happening when we were doing that whirlwind of the roster change after some people left Alabama and went to other locations. And then I watched Florida State play with an Alabama guard, an Alabama wide receiver, an Alabama running back. And I thought to myself, especially at the running back position, serviceable, good college running back in Roydell Williams.
Okay.
But the guys left behind in Tuscaloosa are better than him and probably should have gotten more carries last year. Is that a fair statement?
Well, I think the guys behind him are definitely more explosive. And I think that's one of the things. Trey Benson was an explosive running back. I don't think you're going to get that with Roydell. Roydell, I think he's a great complimentary back.
Yeah.
He's just not what Florida State had last year. And I agree with you. He's not what Alabama's got in their running back room.
Yeah, it just seemed like,
it was better for everyone that he moved on. Is what you're saying. That's not offensive. Yeah. Better for everyone. Roydell Williams probably got in a better spot for him.
Scored a touchdown, played a lot, was a big part of that first drive.
We'll see, but some think Alabama's in a better spot without Roydell Williams.
Yeah,
we'll
I thought at times last year they were still giving some carries to people that maybe weren't the best running backs.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
That's to be determined.
Okay. And, at wide receiver, Benson was good for them. I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't have been on the field again in Tuscaloosa a lot. I don't know.
I had a huge expectation for Benson. Coming from the JUCO ranks, everybody talked about what he was able to do in camp, and he just was a non-factor last year. Florida State had him returning kicks.
I know.
And that tells me a little bit about their personnel there.
When they said Malik Benson, and I was like, did they just say Malik Benson? Before I could even finish the thought, Lance says, Malik Benson's returning punts?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, I thought I heard the same thing.
Justice Haynes is one of those running backs, him and Jam, that didn't get enough carries last year, in my opinion. Not to question the GOAT, he wasn't running the offense all the time, but Justin Haynes on how the running backs that are left in Tuscaloosa, they got a pretty good running back room, and it's helping each other get a little bit better.
Oh, we're looking to accomplish big things as a running back group. We push each other each and every day, but as a relationship-wise, we have a great relationship. We don't just hang out on the football field. We don't just hang out here at the facility. We'll go out and go eat. We'll go to each other's houses. We had an NCAA tournament all together. Something just cool that we done is like throughout the summer, just hanging out, bowling together. We do things like that just to build chemistry. We love being around each other. We have a great relationship, but we also know it's genuine. So when we push each other on the field, we got that relationship off the field. So we can go push each other on the field, and we know it's how to love.
Yeah, no, I didn't get a chance to talk to this guy a lot last year until I did something with Yay, Alabama on National Signing Day, and he was one of the guys that were there. He and Tyler Booker were the two guys I got to interview. And I was like, man, this guy's dynamic. And you know me, glass half empty gym, I kept thinking, I hope he doesn't hit the portal. I hope he doesn't transfer. And I'm so glad to see 22 back.
Well, I will say this, as it relates to seeing Alabama's running backs, this was a defense for Western Kentucky last year that was 123 out of 133 in yards allowed on the ground. It's okay, 190 a game. They gave up 24 rushing touchdowns, which was 100th in the nation. Things can improve. I get it. We saw Georgia Tech make a big improvement defensively, but if you're Alabama, you should be able to run the ball effectively if it gets nobody else.
And there is a misperception about Kalen DeBoer and his offense. He likes to run the football. He likes a balanced attack. And I don't know if people realize Alabama didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher last year. They didn't have a 900-yard rusher.
Yeah.
Jace McClellan led the team with 890 yards.
Yeah.
And, one of the bold predictions in the offseason coming into last year was maybe Justice Haynes, that guy right there, is going to lead Alabama as a freshman in rushing yards. I fully expect him to lead Alabama in rushing yards, and I fully expect him to have another 1,000-yard rusher this year.
MyBookie.ag makes a great point. Discount Daniel over in the MyBookie.ag chat room says that Roydell, his biggest asset, and you saw it again Saturday, he was best in pass protection. He was the best blocking back that they had. He had a block that freed up a touchdown run, and then he picked up several complicated blitzes to give DJ enough time to throw to throw the ball down the field.
Why?
Throw behind.
Throw behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's not with Kalen DeBoer, but that was a non-negotiable with Nick Saban. If you got your quarterback hit, you're not getting carries. I mean, that was just it.
So
you didn't fumble, you didn't get your quarterback hit.
So we'll see if the rookies from last year, Justice and Jam, have gotten better at pass pro, because that's part of the job. You got to be able to do pass protection at times. All right, there's a little Alabama for you on week 1 for them, 6 o'clock, Western Kentucky and Alabama. If you look at the sheet, ESPN for that game. Auburn, they go 6:30 on ESPN Plus, streaming only for Alabama, A&M, and Auburn. Am I right about that? It is streaming only for that game.
Yeah, I mean, ESPN Plus is streaming only, yes.
Yeah, no, but there's the sheet right here. I mean, I do make mistakes on this thing when I do it on Sundays. Streaming only. Streaming only for the Auburn game, streaming only for the Ole Miss game, streaming only for the Mississippi State game. We okay with that?
Well, I mean, when you say we're okay with that, do you have it right? Is that what you're asking me, or am I okay with the concept of it?
I'm just saying that there's 3. I mean, I know who they're playing. I know it's Eastern Kentucky, Furman, and Alabama A&M, but as I did the sheet, if you'll notice here, Brownie, ESPN2's got nothing on it all day long.
Probably U.S. Open tennis, if I had to guess.
Probably so. Yeah. U.S. Open tennis.
Yeah, that's part of your problem this time of year is the U.S. Open tennis eats up at least one ESPN channel.
Yeah, that's what it is, ESPN2. Good call, Brownie.
Thank you. I mean, I'm the tennis expert on the show.
Yeah. Streaming.
Couldn't tell you still alive.
Streaming. Get those streamings ready to go if you're in Auburn, Ole Miss, or Mississippi State. Be prepared for Saturday. Always prepared with our friends at Hemphill. They bring you best and worst of the weekend. Keep those rolling into the chat room. Tell us about Hemphill LT.
205-229-2090. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Contact Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com, 205-229-2090.
And also by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Get those best and worst rolling in. But let me tell you, the best thing you can do, not the worst thing, the best thing you can do is stay on top of your health with our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, UCA, with over 35 urologists on hand, 16 locations across Alabama, treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones. They'll take care of you. Make an appointment. Get more details by calling 205-930-0920. That number on your screen. Or easily visit the website, urologycentersalabama.com. By the way, it includes vasectomies. urologycentersalabama.com to schedule your appointment.
Follow LT on Twitter at @thelancetaylor.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok. While we're changing the game yet again, Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the Intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low, low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of The Next Round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
Bright Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with a TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Back with you now in the Next Round. Tyler Booker already on the show. If you missed it and just now turning in, as JB Jordan says, TB looking strong today. If you missed it, it'll be out, as always, on our streaming services. Chopped up many ways by Forrester and Taylor. And then, of course, you can always get it on Spotify and Apple when Lunceford throws it on over there. So a lot of people work to get different content out different ways. You get Tyler Booker 1,000 different ways on all our platforms, and we appreciate everybody that does that. Joel Klatt joins the show coming up at 10:25, and we did it Friday. Forrester, if you will give me the graphic, the lineup for the entire week during college football season. Mondays will always be Booker and Klatt with overtime today. Overtime is going to be Kalen DeBoer. The news conference starts at 11:30. I'm told by EG it'll be coordinators up until 12 noon. 12 noon will be Kalen DeBoer, and we'll carry that. And then Hugh Freeze on most Mondays after Kalen DeBoer, but Hugh Freeze today not until well after 1 or just after 1 o'clock. So no Hugh Freeze today. We'll catch him next Monday. He'll join our overtime. But this is the lineup, Brownie, of our in-show guests, and then we'll tell you about what we're doing outside of shows on Mondays.
Yeah, don't forget Peyton Thorne will be with us every Tuesday along with Clay Travis. Thursdays, Roman Harper and Dan Orlovsky. Dan will start not this week, but next week, with the NFL not starting until next week. And then Todd Furman, all that presented by mybookie.ag.
Well, that's coming up. And on Monday, starting next Monday on Labor Day, first we got a live Labor Day show. And that starts at 7 a.m. with my show with Tom Luganbill back for year 2. It's Monday morning live, 7 a.m. to 8, actually, to break up because we have another show coming at 8, 7 a.m. to 7:55, Monday morning live. And then at 8 o'clock, Brownie slides in.
That's right. The middle 8 with myself and CBS Sports' Brandon Marcello. We will discuss all the happenings of the weekend in college football.
Yep. Then 9 o'clock, we go the next round until 12, then overtime with DeBoer and Hugh Freeze. And then at 1 o'clock, are we starting this next Monday as well?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Unlocked with Brock Heward from Fox, and we'll be going live 1 to 2.
1 to 2. So
we'll mix some NFL in there as well.
So Monday, 7 a.m. until 2 p.m., continuous coverage all day Monday. Keith says, what about the pregame shows on Saturday? We definitely will do a pregame every Saturday morning, as we always do. The next round tailgate is back. So we'll be rolling. Usually started at 9 a.m. Central Time. Sounds like a good time to start it again.
Yeah. Well, you'll get the alert when we start. So, if it's 9:05, it's 9:05.
Yeah, but 9 a.m. Central, you can shoot for that. We'll start rolling this Saturday with our first full weekend of that. Post games in discussion about us, but the exciting part about our new platform guys, the Cover Crimson guys and the Barn Auburn guys, will have massive post-game and game day coverage, but especially post-game on both of those sites.
Yes, that's where you're going to go for your post-game.
That's right. Now, if something insane happens, I can't promise we won't jump on and talk about something insane.
We'll give you some reaction, but we're going to let the covercrimson.com and the barnauburn.com people take over with post-game, and who knows? Some of us may jump in on their post-game
That's
shows.
right. Why not?
We may go yang here and yang there. So all that is happening all throughout the week. And yes, we've got our spotlights that are back today. We'll do our stock report later. tomorrow. I don't know if the Brown Bandit's in town for week 1.
Yeah, I heard he will be in town, and he cleaned up on Underdog Saturday there on week 0.
Oh,
That's what I've heard.
So tomorrow we go upset alert, and then as we always do, we work our way to Friday when we do headlines. I tried to throw one out this weekend, did not go over well.
Okay, what was it?
Burr tells Seminoles to talk less.
Burr?
B-I-R-R, the kicker.
Burr. Okay.
To Seminoles, talk less. If you're a big Hamilton fan.
Which I'm not. I don't get this.
Burr killed Alexander Hamilton, and in the theatrical rendition, he gave advice to Alexander Hamilton to talk less.
Okay.
The Seminoles spent all summer talking.
Gotcha.
More on that right after LT tells us about the Wharf Seafood, casual seafood, Wharf Casual Seafood all over our viewing area, including a new location right here in Moody.
Yeah, look, we had fresh seafood down at the Gulf, but if you want fresh seafood locally to you, the Wharf Casual Seafood is a fast, casual restaurant serving American-caught seafood. Locations, Montgomery, Dothan, Alexander City. The newest location, Moody, Leeds. They've got incredible beer and drink specials every single day. Beer and margarita specials on Tuesday, half-off wine on the Wednesdays. They've got seafood entrees, tacos, platters, po' boy salads, burgers, and so much more. To check out the menu today and to see the locations nearest you, go to wharfcasualseafood.com. That is wharfcasualseafood.com.
Goose says nothing funnier, Jim, than a joke you have to explain. I know.
That's tough. That's
Caleb,
tough.
Jimmy Broadway. Can I get Lunceford's microphone? That is. I mean,
why, so you can hear me laughing at that?
Yeah. I mean, it was, what's Burr's real name?
Aaron Burr.
Aaron Burr. He killed him, right?
Yes.
And he did early in the Hamilton say talk less, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I saw it once when it first came out. I don't remember.
Yeah, okay. I thought I need to talk to your wife. She'd back me up on that. She probably sang along 1,000 times. Here's my talk less point, though. All right. Since Florida State, all summer long, they have griped about not making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They have sued to try to get out of the ACC. An amazing stat. The last 58 ACC games, Florida State's trying to leave the ACC. In their last 58 ACC games, conference only, what is Florida State's record?
58?
Last 58 ACC games.
I will go 38-20.
I think it's less than that. I think it's...
Brown should talk less. You're correct.
Yeah.
Less than that.
I would say that it is 32-26.
They are 30-28 in their last 58
So they're
ACC games.
barely 500?
Yeah.
Well,
They're too good for the ACC.
Yes. No,
They got to
was
leave.
That was a team for, 2 or 3 straight years did not lose in the ACC.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it a million times. That Thursday night Tiki Barber game in Charlottesville was the first one they lost. Took them a long time to lose a conference game, and now, hey, last year was a great year for Florida State, but I wanted to see Mike Norvell be able to maintain this and be able to restock. When you lose that much talent, we've seen Nick Saban do it. We've seen Kirby Smart do it. We've seen Ryan do it to a degree. Ryan Day do it to a degree. A lot of these programs can't do it.
Yeah, I just, you guys were like me. I thought pent up frustration at some point, all of this, but it was such a new team that I don't know how much they could ride the momentum of being left out of the playoffs. All those playmakers were gone. I don't know how much a court battle gets you fired up in the locker room. We beat them in the deposition.
We'll beat them on the field.
We'll beat them on the field.
I mean, I think the big winner in that game was Clemson. I mean, if you're Clemson today, you're like, okay, if anybody thought SMU was going to challenge us new to the conference, does not appear so.
Yeah.
If anybody thought we were going to have struggled to beat Florida State, it does not appear so.
Well,
so far.
I just, I mean, if Clemson's defense is as good as advertised, and you've got an experienced quarterback there in Klubnik.
Yep.
This is a guy that has played, he's played a lot of football.
I want to hold until I see NC State.
Yeah.
That's the only other thing I'll say about
Miami?
the SEC. I just don't have faith in them.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll watch them Saturday. I think they're going to lose to Florida.
Virginia Tech. I mean, it's a deeper league. Louisville.
Yeah. It is, but I'm just talking about people that could actually win the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you start to have a lot of 9-3s possibly in this league.
9-3.
Feels like it.
That ends up being a one-bid league if you're 9-3.
Yeah.
A lot of
It
9-3s.
does.
Well, which most people assume it was going to be anyway.
But that's why I've always well documented on this show. I'm the only one that wanted automatic bids.
You did.
And that's why. What if my conference is really, really good and you end up, for instance, the SEC could, their champion, everybody could be 2 losses.
Could be.
Yeah, what if your conference is really, really average?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
and that's what we might get with the ACC this year.
We may get it.
I think the Big 12 is going to be the surprisingly good conference. And, I hate to say it. I think the ACC, I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
One thing, Michelson look ahead to the final game of week 1, which involves Florida State, who travels today. Tell us about Michelson. And I want to ask you a question about Boston College, who Florida State gets next, this time in Atlanta, right? So is that an Atlanta game Monday night? I think it is.
No, I think that's in Tallahassee.
You do? I thought it was Monday night at Mercedes-Benz. I thought that's part of the Labor Day kickoff. But tell us about Michelson.
205-969-8100. Make the phone call that I made over 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of context. After the procedure, which took only 12 minutes for both eyes, 2015 vision better than 2020. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Ask about the pre-inflation pricing. They are going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, 0 to lose, to find out if LASIK is right for you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
FSU BC you're talking about. Yeah, that's in Tallahassee.
It's in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
I just thought that Monday night game was always Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so it's Tallahassee.
Yeah, it's Tallahassee.
Good for them. So they get to go home this weekend. Bill O'Brien does coach Boston College, but they've got a running back. They got a quarterback who can run the football. That hurt. The way Haynes King ran the football, that hurt Florida State a little bit.
Oh, well, go back last year, Florida State in this game against Boston College. And he was running their defensive line, who was really, really good last year, to death. I don't know if you guys remember that was like they had to move the start time because of like a hurricane up the East Coast.
I've forgotten that now.
And there was a lot of wind involved, but it came down to a final possession. And Boston College was a massive underdog in that game.
Was that the red bandana game last year?
Might have been,
Yeah.
and it was tighter than it should have been, right? It was one of those.
It was a
everybody's
one-possession game.
Yeah, here's where it ends for Florida State. I think Luganville did the game, if I remember right.
And I think that was one of when we were breaking down why Alabama should be in and Florida State should be left out. I think that was one of the
Maybe
places
so.
all the Bammers went in circles.
I'm going to tell you right here, because I thought it was a really interesting game last year, because I do think it was the first time that you looked at it. I think there was a lot of people pulling against Florida State out there. It was week 3, 31-29 win in Chestnut Hill, and just looking at the box score, BC outscored them 13-0, and it was Castellanos was the kid.
That's right. Yep.
Passed for 305, rushed for 95, so 400 total yards and 2 touchdowns.
From that one guy.
Yeah, I remember Luganville saying if there were free agency in college football, in-season trades, Castellanos would be 100% a trade. He could start a lot of places.
He comes to town, to Tallahassee, coming up Monday night, and we'll see if the Guinness tripping, jet lag flipping Florida State Seminoles are ready to go on Monday night as they try to bounce back from that loss to Georgia Tech. All right, we'll clean up a little dead wood. New segment on the show when I mess up. We got a sponsor for this, but I thought that was the Monday night game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Right.
So clean that up. It's not. It's in Tallahassee. Also, I thought all of the games were not going to be. I thought we were getting away from streaming. I thought ESPN and ABC had all the platforms. I thought the SEC would be on every network somewhere. Seems like we didn't have a lot of streaming games. I was wrong about that. So 2 things wrong in the first hour. Little deadwood, cleaning that up. Dunaway's mistakes, brought to you by
Gray's Tree Service. Look, I had a situation in my backyard. Our friends at Gray's, they came out, they had to extract 4 trees from my backyard just a couple of months ago. I had a neighbor yelling at me. It was the leaf blower neighbor. I didn't know he knew my name. I hear Lance. I go to meet him at the fence. He shows me I have 4 dead trees. I call Gray's. They come out the next day. They extract the trees, not before one of them fell and hit the dude's fence. That's one of the things you got to keep an eye out for. And Gray's, family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, soil health treatment to strengthen your trees and plants. These guys do an outstanding job. I forgot Rockstar had them out recently. Somebody else did. I think Reed had them out recently. Grace maintains a fleet of specialized cranes and lifts to get the job done right and prevent damage to your home. You've seen them rolling around town in those great wrap trucks. Always call 205-281-6100. That's 205-281-6100. We've got a QR code right there. We've got an incredible deal for you. Jump on board if you need to extract the trees. Our friends at Grace, they are the experts. For more information, gracetree.com.
Okay, I appreciate Grace listening to the show enough to know that I make enough mistakes that they're going to get some advertising. Give me Lunceford's microphone. Cleaning up more dead wood. Apparently, I didn't even get the Hamilton quote right.
So it was actually George Washington. It was in a song called One More Time, and he's going to meet George Washington after his presidency, and he tells him to talk less.
Well, good news is if Washington loses a game, you can come back with a line. So Burr did not say it.
Burr did not say it. It was George Washington.
Yeah. Wait for the Huskies to play a big game, Jim. And try it again, see if it flies out.
It is something from Hamilton, though. You didn't just make it up. So.
I know, but I missed, which probably why it only got 6 likes.
Yeah, that was it.
And no comments.
You're right. That was it.
Not that I'm a 14-year-old girl living through likes. Seth says, Dunaway, I'm still curious. What time of sandwich did you make when Florida State was up 8-0? It was a big loser sandwich at mybookie.ag.
Do you remember what kind of sandwich you made?
It was. I'm on an heirloom tomato kick. It was salt and pepper, mayonnaise on both sides of the bread, and an heirloom tomato. That's all it was. 2 of them. Delicious. I'm hooked.
White bread?
White bread. Wonder bread. Wonder bread. All right. Dunaway's mistakes. Tyler Booker. Best and worst of the weekend rolling. We'll keep that going when we come back. More college football. Then Joel Klatt right here on the show, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink. Easy to enjoy. This is TNR.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at ryanbrownlive.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
You never know what we're up to here at the Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow the Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunceford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Usually I don't talk to trolls in the chat room, but Festus over there, paywall crap is messing up the whole show. They are not going to give out breaking news, and now no post-game show. Post-game shows will not be behind a paywall, right?
No.
You get some of that stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I just don't want to do a post-game show.
Yeah. We'll be doing a pregame show. Breaking news always is not behind a paywall. It comes here first.
You know how much breaking news we do on this show.
Yeah.
Always breaking news.
Yeah, we're going to hold something?
Yes.
Yeah. We were 28 seconds behind Chris Lowe breaking that Nick Saban was leaving. You can't put that kind of stuff on behind a paywall. So
it's not a paywall either. It's premium content.
Yeah. Thank you.
There he is.
Thank you.
I like that, Tyler.
Thank you. Premium content. Covercrimson.com. Covercrimson.com. If you know, you know. If you want to go over there and enjoy all the stuff there. And the barnauburn.com. Start out with $1. See if you like all the free stuff and the stuff that is behind the premium content wall. Do I not need to say wall too?
No, well, I think
just
the
premium
wall,
content
that
stuff.
doesn't sound good.
The premium content. That's perfect.
It's excellent.
And maybe that really good sexy story is coming out this week.
Coming out this week.
Okay.
CPAP Plus, making you sleep better into this football season. I slept perfect last night. After a nice bourbon on Dunaway After Dark, live every Sunday at 10. I rolled into doing.
What time do you go till?
I try to shoot for 20 minutes, and so far with Taylor Korn and then last night Chris Marlar, it's always been 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So typical me, I shoot for 20 and go 45.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, don't buy your mask and supplies from Amazon or online. Go see the folks CPAP Plus. See what you're actually buying. Visit any of their 3 convenient locations. Pelham Highway 280. Now open and trustful for a free CPAP checkup. Free filters. No appointments needed. Maybe you travel. They've got travel CPAP machines in stock. You can even rent one to see how you like it. The rental fee can just be applied to your purchase of the travel CPAP. With over 200 5-star reviews on Google, the folks at CPAP Plus are CPAP users themselves. So the people helping you know what it's like and are ready to help. Stop by one of those 3 locations. Tell them the next round sent you, or just Google CPAP Plus. They carry the best equipment from names like ResMed, React, mask and supplies in stock every day. If you need it today, guess what? They've got it today. Make sure you get in. Tell the O'Neill brothers the next round sent you.
Walker saying Bama and Bourbon making a return. Yes. And is it this week?
Oh, is it this week?
It's that's a great question.
That is a great. It's either this week or next.
Should be this week or next, but yes, Bama and Bourbon will be back. We'll be back. All right, so here's what I want to ask you guys. For those of you that may be looking, hey, I couldn't find the AP poll yesterday, Jim. I can't find it on Monday. They will not do another AP poll and another coaches poll until after week 1 is done. So you won't get it until a week from tomorrow, until next Tuesday. So my question would be, what happens to Florida State? Number 10 in the country. They lose, and obviously they'll drop.
Well,
how far do they drop?
You got to see what else happens. Do you think after, what will that be, almost, it'd be 9 days, 10 days, do you think Georgia Tech will get the same amount of credit? It's fresh on your mind. Like if you had to vote yesterday, you would have been like, man, I got to give Georgia Tech credit for that. But after you've seen a whole nother week of college football before you vote.
I think Tech will be in the top 25.
I think they will. I don't know, Jim, what happens to Florida State. They're 10th, and, every year we do this with the top 10 team that finishes unranked. A lot of people were already going ahead and putting that label on Florida State Saturday.
To your point, though, Brownie, Georgia Tech, after they get the bye week, right? They would go quick bye after week 0. I know Florida State plays on Monday, so Florida State will have.
They've got Georgia State at home in 2 weeks, I think.
No,
they got Georgia
play
State
Saturday.
this week.
Yeah,
this week.
No, Georgia Tech does not get the bye. They play Saturday.
They do. It's prime time Luganville game.
Probably want to go ahead and win that game before we start putting them in the top 25. Yeah. I mean, I think they'll beat Georgia State.
Is it not on our sheet?
Yeah, it is on the backside. Georgia State, Georgia Tech. Only so much can make it to the front.
Yeah.
ACC Network, Georgia State, Georgia Tech. And I think they would be in there if they had voted today. But next Tuesday, when it drops, Florida State will have the last word after they play Boston College. So Georgia Tech could be in. My question is, if you were voting, Brownie, you got to see everything happen. But is Florida State potentially all the way out? of your ballot?
I'd have to put Georgia Tech in front of them. So I'd move Georgia Tech up into the top 25. I don't know that I would drop Florida State all the way out of the top 25, and a lot could happen behind them. I think Clemson is going to lose to Georgia. How does that loss go?
Yeah, it won't knock them out, but I do think if A&M lost to Notre Dame,
Miami and Florida.
Yeah, if Miami loses, they're going to be out. I mean, there are teams that are going to get cleared out here. USC probably losing to LSU is going to knock them out.
So, there will be some space in all likelihood created in the bottom half of that top 25. Yeah. So I think Georgia Tech should jump in. I put Georgia Tech in front of Florida State. I think if I were voting right now, I'd probably have Florida State down around 21, 22 and have Georgia Tech 20 or 21. It was a field goal at the end on a neutral site. That doesn't mean that Georgia Tech's 10 spots better than them, right?
That's right.
A field goal at the Horn on a neutral site tells me they're probably a lot alike, at least on that one day.
By the way, I like the way that stadium looked for a football game. I know it was smaller, but I like the way it was designed. The short stands at the end zone with the big backdrops, and the sky looked fantastic. Apparently a rare, pretty good weather day.
Yeah.
Had some drizzle at one point, but it cleared up. And
so next year it's Iowa State, Kansas State in that game, right? They announced that during the game, if I'm not mistaken.
So, yes.
Yeah. So we'll get Iowa State, Kansas State in that game next year.
Yep.
Which, again, this is the best week 0 we've ever had. And I know that's not a whole lot of, data on that. We don't have a ton of week 0s. But normally week 0 gives you a dud. We got 4 really
incredible.
Good games.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the 4th. I never saw
close game. Let me say close.
Yeah, but those first 3 were outstanding.
Yeah, those first 3 games were terrific football games.
And you're counting Montana State coming back and beating New Mexico.
Yeah. That was a 31-14 fourth quarter lead for Bronco Mendenhall that they blew at home.
Yeah, this shows you that the game control or win probability, whatever it is, doesn't matter because I think it was 99%.
Yeah. By the way, my 6 headline of Burr, Talk Less.
Right.
2 likes to you can't be Bronco lose them all if you don't lose the first one.
See, I like that one better.
2 likes on that one.
I like that one better.
I don't think people know who Bronco Mendenhall is and that he's coaching Mexico or we're watching that game.
Look, I went from BYU to Virginia to New Mexico.
Yeah.
Just oof. That's what we call a downward trajectory right there.
But he could Bronco lose the ball this year. Yeah. Absolutely.
For oh gosh, I don't know, 50 minutes of football, I really like that Nevada coach. That guy was making every right decision.
Yep.
And first-year coach, bad program.
How bad did the weather look like? You saw babies wearing toboggans.
Cold,
yeah. And the guy who lives there, the OC or the quarterback coach, whoever's talking to quarterback all the time, had his hoodie up.
Yeah.
He was bundled up with his hoodie up and his headphones outside his hoodie.
Yeah. I've got this, and I finally discussed it publicly. I've got this weird thing. When you see a game that's got sun and shade in weird spots, it feels like an upset. All right, think through that now. If you're watching, say, SMU, and they go to an unfamiliar place, they've never played at Nevada, and it's got weird shading on the field, the sun's in a weird place in the sky. You guys saw that first half. It just looked weird, right? You're not used to seeing, I think that screams upset. I think it gets you, this sounds insane, I know, but I think it just gets you mentally off. You're not where you're supposed to be. You're like, why are we playing in Reno, Nevada? Why that we never play with the sun in this part of the sky? And I know that sounds stupid, but you watch games like that.
No.
And it just feels weird. It just feels weird watching it.
I know SMU won the game, and Florida State was upset, but both of them, it did look like you could just tell the upset was happening.
Yeah. SMU just seemed...
The lighting seemed weird.
It did seem weird, and SMU from the jump just seemed like they were completely out of whack in that game.
Okay, give us some best and worst from the chat room, Brownie, brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. But Forrester, I want to give you one of my best from the weekend. It's from... It's another humorous thing. Had to laugh at this. It's Mob Noel on Twitter. This is a Knowles fan, sends out, "Be careful, everyone. I had 2 tickets to the Florida State-Boston College game next week in my car, and someone broke in and left 4 more." The old joke there.
It's already limited capacity this year at Doak Campbell. And, boy, I can't imagine your fans are excited to come out now.
Our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics get you back in the game. Tweaks and pulls, pains and breaks, they take care of it all. 205-512-3885. 512-3885. Precision Sports Orthopedics. ortho.com/2024. They diagnose it, they treat it, and they rehab it. Get you back to running and working and playing. Locations in Jasper and in Fultondale, in Alabaster, and all around the Birmingham metro area. Orthopedic care is absolutely better together. Find your provider today, and again, call the number 205-512-3885 or right there, precisionsportsortho.com/2024. All right, Brownie, give us some best and worst of the weekend over there.
Tide fan, Bama fan, 1972. Best college football is back. Worst, how many times they said FSU had an Alabama transfer player during the game? It wasn't just that game. I don't know, man. The network's got to make a decision on this. There are so many transfers. I don't know that we need to say it every time they make a play.
But if you're coming off,
week one, you kind of have to.
Yeah,
right?
but you got a playoff team too. It's not like they weren't saying, he transferred in from Indiana, right? Like Bleedy for Auburn is an Indiana guy. I don't think they're going to say Indiana so much with him, but anytime that Benson or the running back Roydell were touching the ball, Joe Test gives you a lot of mustard, man. He cranks it up to an 11 on a 1 to 10 scale of hype, and he was dropping the transfer from Alabama quite a bit.
Yeah, I just don't know that it's going to get redundant if you start doing it, because there are a ton of transfers.
Yeah.
Like every team is made up of transfers.
But if you're a Alabama transfer, a Georgia transfer, Michigan transfer, Ohio State transfer, at this point, that's got a little street cred. So I think it tries to help those programs out by throwing out it's an Alabama guy.
I'm not going to be able to comment on this. The best for a lot of people in the chat room was the way Florida won the Little League World Series.
Oh, I got reaction. We can't show you.
What did they do?
I will tell you that the best at doing this, Forster, did you ever cover the great Sammy Dunn when he was at Vestavia? Were you in the business yet when the great Sammy Dunn was coaching Vestavia? His son Casey coached at Sanford. He's at UAB now, but did you ever cover the great Sammy Dunn when he was at Vestavia?
Nope. I knew him a little bit because I was in school at Vestavia when he was there.
Okay.
But
so you saw the way they played back in the day. Sammy Dunn, high school baseball, Vestavia. If he saw that your infield could not handle situations in bunts, he would bunt 8 times in a row.
Yeah, why would you not?
8 times in a row, and people miscommunicating, not throwing, overthrowing the first baseman, leaving bases open. He would force you to make a mental mistake. A big clutch hit gets the Americans from Florida. They get them to extra innings by a big 2-out base hit, keeping the game alive, 1-1 with Taiwan, and then you go to the 8th. And the coach calls a bunt, lays down a bunt.
What's the situation? Set it up.
I don't know if the runner was at second or third.
Okay.
But he throws a bunt down and forces Taiwan to make a play.
Right.
And they don't make the play, and in comes the walk-off run on a bunt.
Well, if he scored from second, they must have thrown it away or something.
Yeah, a little mistake.
Okay.
Mental. That's what Sammy did. He mentally put you in a crisis situation, and that ends up
All right, they're saying the runner was at second in the
second
mybook.ag chat room. So runner at second, they lay a bunt down, kid throws it away, and guy scores from second. That's a tough way to lose the world championship, wouldn't you say? If you're the kid that throws it away.
Sure is.
And then here's the reaction in Lake Mary, Florida, as the throw down the first baseline. Nobody there. Here we go. Walk-off
there's nobody
win.
on first. Oh, no.
Yep. Pressure situation, and Lake Mary wins the Little League World Series as they go crazy at that bar there.
So the pitcher and the first baseman both tried to cover the bunt, and the second baseman didn't rotate over to cover the bag.
Nobody there, man.
That's a tough way to lose.
2-1. First ever Little League World Series for the state of Florida. If I read that correctly.
That is surprising.
That is shocking to me there. So that's some of the best and worst of the weekend. Joel Klatt coming up in the next segment. Keep your best and worst rolling in. Later after Joel Klatt, at 10:45, we will get to our stock report, and we'll pull out the dry erase board, a stock up and a stock down, and we'll try to all not have Georgia Tech and Florida State.
That's going to be tough.
We'll work around some stuff. coming up on the show that's being brought to you today by our great friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. You know who we're talking about here. His stock's always up with us. It's Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing. Locally owned now for over 20 years, Greg will get on your roof and give you a free, no-cost roof inspection. Absolutely free, no-obligation roof inspection. 205-542-3531, or just look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. That's his wife, Andrea, down there with two good-looking men. One of those is Greg. I don't know who the other guy is. Oh, it's me. I'm sorry. I couldn't see the screen there. It was blocked. It was me, Tyler. He'll make sure your roof's looking good. He'll do a roof replacement. He'll do storm damage repairs. But that free no-cost roof inspection lets you know what's going on in the roof. It's trustworthy, too. He won't get up there and say, oh, you need a new roof. You need a new roof. He doesn't do that. He gets up there, he checks it out. Oftentimes, I've talked to so many of our listeners, he comes down and says, you got 3 or 4 more years left on this roof. No problem at all. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. Check him out, 205-542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at jimdunaway.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
When on YouTube, you constantly hear requests to please like and subscribe. Well, here at Disrupt Media, we aren't going to play that game. Those demands are frankly outdated. So we just want you to hit like or subscribe. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel. Pick a path, hit like, or hit subscribe. It's your call. We don't care which, just pick one. Or go to Roll Tide Pods and do it. Or War Damn Pods. Or the Disrupt Media YouTube channel. Or the Meltdown. Just make a decision and stick with it. Like or subscribe, the choice is yours.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the next round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness. Back with you on the next round, Joel Klatt coming up momentarily. The show being brought to you by lanceslock.com and our friends at Hemphill. Hemphill Services are the proud sponsor of lanceslock.com. Football is back, and you had some game plays this weekend. You crank it back up Thursday night for first full weekend.
Yeah, jump on board with us. Coming off a winning NFL preseason again, we are going to win for you this college football season. Got special just football packages. Again, $100 gets you absolutely everything, including all our Major League Baseball. New YouTube channel, win@lanceslog.com. New website, lanceslog.com. Jump on board. Always brought to you by our friends. Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090. Call Adam, Chad, and Andrew. The guys there. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Boy, there are many ways you know when it's college football season. When this guy starts joining us every Monday, you know it's college football season. Presented by mybookie.ag. Welcome in, Joe Klatt. What is up, Klatt?
Hey, how are you guys doing? What's going on today?
Man, phenomenal. It's I know you live in Southern California. There's a little I wouldn't call it a nip in the air here in Birmingham, but it's cool. A little cooler than normal. We've got football being played. It's awesome.
I think, Klatt, we have a new camera angle for you. Did you slide a little bit in the room, a little closer to that far wall?
I did. I got a whole new desk set up. I'm finishing it up here in the next couple of days. But yeah, it's a whole new desk. You guys will get a little bit of a different angle, which is unique. You don't get the same angle as the show, so I did that for you.
Oh,
right?
wow, just for us.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It looks good. It's a good looking set, good looking angle.
Hey, by the way, how are you guys? What's going on? It's great to talk.
Terrific.
You know us. You know us. Always good this time of year.
Better than Mike Norvell. No, but if I ask you, Klatt, I mean, what is the bigger problem? Because we talked about this. Like going into the weekend, we were like, Haynes King is actually the better quarterback. You know, Jordan Travis, there is a downgrade from Jordan Travis to DJU. But if you're a Florida State fan and you're watching this game, are you more concerned with what seemed to be lack of confidence in DJU from Mike Norvell? Are you more concerned in that situation, or the fact that this was a Florida State defense that on the edge last year beat everybody and they were able to attack the quarterback? 0 sacks this past weekend. And I know a lot of that is Haynes King is so athletic, but it just looked a little different from the defense as well.
And maybe style of offense. You know, I mean, Georgia Tech was running the ball so effectively. Two things jumped out to me watching that game. Number one was DJ has not progressed as a quarterback. You know, what we saw when he stepped in for Trevor Lawrence against Notre Dame is what we continue to see. And it's a guy that doesn't see it all that well. You know, you can tell. And then there is some apprehension in his ability to just let it rip down the field. You know, he's got some wide receivers open. The times that they did protect him, he wasn't able to connect down the field. And that's going to have to develop. That's going to have to get better. There's no question. I thought what was actually more worrisome for Florida State was the fact that their defensive line, it wasn't about the fact that they didn't get pressure on Haynes King. It's that they got blown off the ball so many different times, just moved. And Georgia Tech is running untouched into the second and third level. That's worrisome because, you know, all due respect to Georgia Tech, I think that they're going to see some better running attacks. You know, there's going to now. I don't think the ACC is ultimately all that deep. Having said that, though, like that's more worrisome to me. You cannot lose the line of scrimmage by that amount to Georgia Tech in week one when you're supposedly mad and you're out there to prove a point, and they got manhandled at the line of scrimmage. To me, that's my takeaway. Everyone's going to point at DJU. Everyone's going to worry about the quarterback and what happened there. That's fixable. Honestly, it's fixable. Even though that we've seen kind of the same things from him during the course of his career, what tends to be not fixable is when you got tackles that just get their butts kicked, snap in and snap out, because that line of scrimmage was just getting shoved down the field.
I know they may have chose to play at that same pace that Georgia Tech was playing to limit the possessions. I don't know if that was Mike Norvell's plan, but I know in the SMU game, they didn't play as fast as I thought they wanted to play, or in the past they used to play. Do you think the in-helmet communication actually slowed down the pace teams a little bit? Is there a chance that Rhett Lashley calling in plays and talking to the court? I mean, so many times it seems like everybody was not getting to the line until after the 15 seconds it was cut off. Is there a chance in-helmet communications can slow people down?
It's a great question. I think it depends on the mechanics that you want to use. So if you want to say like, okay, we're done with signals, we're done with the big poster boards, and we're just going to communicate to the quarterback and he's going to communicate to the rest of the offense, that's going to slow you down by a significant margin. Because think about it, like you could communicate to all 11 like that through signs and poster boards. Now you're trying to just say audibly, generally speaking, can be a long play call. That person then has to then play a game of telephone and communicate it to everybody else. Then they have to line up. Then you've got to execute the snap. That's going to take longer. Now, is it safer? Yes, ultimately it is. I would imagine that some of these teams are going to have a varied mechanics in terms of how they're calling plays. If they want to go fast, they need to return to some of the signals. If they want to slow it down, then they can go back to the helmet audio. But what I think would be beneficial, in particular for quarterbacks, is that you retain some sort of hybrid where you're getting everyone lined up right away, and then you can get to the line of scrimmage while you're talking to the quarterback and he's looking at what's in front of him. And you can say, this is the coverage they're in. This is the play that we're going to run. Communicate to the offensive line. And you've got that ability to communicate while he's looking at the defense. But if you slow it down and you give him the play, now it's kind of old school, where he's got to go up and he's got to be a big boy and kind of identify everything there. But yeah, it's a good question. I'm a fan of the helmet communication. I think that it's going to be better. But it could slow people down depending on how they want to do it.
Joel Klatt joins us this time each week, courtesy of MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. When you sign on at MyBookie.ag to get that bonus, you can see Klatt and Gus and the All-American Girl Saturday for the big noon kickoff. Almost Heaven, West Virginia. You'll hear that song once or twice, Klatt.
Oh, boy. I can't wait. A little country road. Let's go.
Yeah.
They are going to be pinned at noon. I mean, it don't matter what game time it is. Those Mountaineers are going to come out in force.
Penn State an 8.5-point favorite in this game, but it feels like a
it's coming down.
Yeah,
they were like a 2-touchdown favorite.
Yeah, I mean that has dropped, hasn't it? At my bookie,
it's still high to me though, Joel. I don't understand this because I thought one of the untalked about stories last year was Neil Brown on this incredibly hot seat. He had the shortest odds to lose his job a year ago today. They win 9 games. Garrett Green. I was going to ask you this. Like, when you look at the quarterbacks, Drew Aller, only turned the football over twice last year, was very, very good in that regard. But the more dangerous quarterback's Garrett Green, right?
Listen, based off of last year, yes. Drew Aller, when you took a look at like his average depth of pass is like 115th in the country, right? There's very little explosive play from the offense of Penn State a year ago that would strike fear in you. Meanwhile, West Virginia had the #1 rushing offense in the Power 5. I think that would surprise a lot of people when I say that. Last year, West Virginia had the #1 rushing offense in the Power 5. They win 9 games. Now, on its face, all of those things are true. As soon as you start to peel back the onion, I mean, just a few layers, you'll see that when West Virginia faced anybody of consequence, they faced 3 opponents that ended up being ranked at the end of the year. They lost badly in those games. Penn State, meanwhile, the only teams they struggle with are Ohio State and Michigan. In fact, they win by an average of about 40-12 in all games other than Michigan and Ohio State the last 2 years. They're 21-1 in games that are not Michigan and Ohio State. Penn State is an elite top 10 team. And West Virginia, I think, had the benefit of playing a schedule that wasn't all that tough, and now they're going to see a very difficult slate week in and week out. In fact, you look at what they've got in the month of October. They've got 4 straight games. They're going to have to go at Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Kansas State, at Arizona. And that's after a bye on September 28th, which is coming off a game in which they've got to host Kansas. So now all of a sudden, like, this is a schedule that has some depth and some teeth to it. West Virginia is a really good team. I think that Coach Brown did a phenomenal job a year ago. I'm really excited to see Donaldson and Jaheim White, this running back duo. There's no doubt Green is a solid player, but let's not fall into the trap that Drew Aller is a bad player. He led the Big Ten in touchdowns. He only had 2 interceptions. He's a first-year starter, and he ended up in the top 10. His only 2 losses were Michigan and Ohio State. Guys, if you were to say for any first-year starter in college football, outside of teams like Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State, would you take that quarterback play? The answer is yes. If he takes a step forward, we could be seeing a team in Penn State that could finish in the top 8, top 7, potentially, and maybe most likely host a playoff game.
Brown is singing, so I'll go Georgia, Georgia. Do they? They're
not
number
how it
one.
goes.
They're not number one in your poll. I think you had Ohio State. Is that correct on your poll? Your ranking?
It was, but I
Yeah.
mean, 1A, 1B. I mean, those two are the best in the country, I think.
Are we sleeping a little bit on how close that game can be, Clemson and Georgia? Because everyone's painting this as a blowout. To just what you were talking about, Cade Klubnik. Let's give him a chance to grow another year as a starting quarterback. If they get better quarterback play, what can Clemson be this year?
I'm a bit nervous that they don't have Shipley. I was a big believer in Garrett Riley. I got burned by Clemson last year because I was like, oh, man, Garrett Riley coming off of that national championship game appearance with TCU. Klubnik, I believed in. I thought he should have been the starter for the majority of the season the prior year. I loved Shipley, and I'm like, oh man, Clemson is Clemson. And then I was like, wait, hold on a second. This is not what I'm accustomed to. Their fans do not want to hear this, but Clemson is going through what every great team in the history of college football has had to go through, which is a pocket of greatness and then a period where there's going to be struggle. That's just what it is. The anomaly is what we have all, and more specifically you guys, have had to enjoy over the last 12 and 15 years with Nick Saban. That doesn't happen. Okay? That does not happen. And because those two periods coincided in terms of Clemson's, I would even say, reign, and what Alabama was doing, we don't view Clemson and Dabo the way that we would have if they didn't have Alabama to compare themselves to. They had a 7-year stretch where they reached number 1 in the AP poll every single year. You know the only other team to do that? The great Miami teams and Alabama with Nick Saban. Right? So Clemson guys had one of the great stretches in the history of the sport for 7 years. And what do you see in the entire history of college football is that after a 7-year period like that, there's a readjustment. There's a struggle. Generally, what happens is that program, whether it's the coach or the boosters or the administration, is unwilling to adjust to the changing evolutionary nature of college football. And guess what's happened at Clemson? They have been unwilling to adjust to the evolutionary nature of college football. Dabo is unwilling to adjust to the new roster building mechanisms that we have in the sport. I think that has affected their ability to play at the top end. Georgia has not hesitated to evolve with college football. They are still at the top of the sport, and they are in the middle of their period of greatness. Who knows how long that can last? So these two programs are at a very different juncture just in terms of their lifespan. And I candidly to suggest that Clemson, listen, can Clemson win the game? Sure. Maybe they can win the game for 60 minutes. But their program is not near Georgia right now. It's just not. And that's to be expected. That's not a knock. Dabo's a hell of a coach. The program is fantastic. I feel like they'll bounce back out of this, but that's where we're at right now. I think Clemson is a team that's going to struggle, hang on to an ability to try to maybe make the playoff. Meanwhile, I think Georgia's a top 2 team in the sport.
Joel Klatt joins us.
Is that, by the way,
what?
I haven't tried that out with anybody, that kind of take. Where does that land for you guys? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's perfect because until you put it in context, I never thought of Clemson's 7-year run as one of the 3 best runs in college football history. And,
because we forget about it, because it was dwarfed by what Nick was doing at Alabama.
Yeah. So
I just don't see Kirby. Kirby and Dabo are close in age, I just don't see Kirby losing his fastball that quickly.
No,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, because that's a program that has evolved. So like, think about it, guys. Like, Nebraska did not evolve schematically, fell off, and then they tried to hire some of the wrong guys. Miami did not invest in facilities when the facilities race came up. You could say the same about USC. Michigan felt like they were just going to be Michigan for everybody, but they did not evolve with the sport like they needed to, both from a facility standpoint and from a hire standpoint. Texas, Mac Brown did not evolve in terms of how to recruit, in particular from a competitive standpoint at the quarterback position. They fell off. Like, it happens. This happens in our sport, and that's what Clemson is going through right now.
Joel Klatt, Fox, it is the Big Noon Kick coming up from West Virginia and Penn State. That is 11 o'clock Central Time, obviously noon Eastern. He joins us each week, courtesy of mybookie.ag.
Turn up the surround sound, because that's going to be the best atmosphere of the weekend.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm about to ask you about Notre Dame at Texas A&M. Probably a pretty good atmosphere there. When people, like we have said on this show, say nobody knows what frustrates Riley Leonard more than his former head coach Mike Elko.
Sure.
Is that a factor in this game? How big of a factor is that in this game, if so?
Well, I think it's absolutely a factor. I think that the bigger factor is Notre Dame's just a better roster. I think you guys would agree with that. I think that Notre Dame is getting Texas A&M at the perfect time. I'd much rather play them now in Mike Elko's first game rather than, be the Longhorns and have to face them late. Right?
Yes.
And granted, with everything that comes with that game, that's I think that is a fairly obvious point. Now, having said that, because you get them early, you're going to have so much newness for Elko and that organization that a team like Notre Dame, who's really been through it, right? Like they've been through it. They're going to learn some of those lessons from losing to Ohio State. If they can win that game, guys, you look at their schedule and you're like, oh, well, that's easily a playoff team, maybe an undefeated team. That's what's wild. Like, Notre Dame's schedule is just so favorable to them. I think that they're a better team than Texas A&M, largely because of just the point in time in which they're facing them. In terms of Mike's first game, I believe that he's the right guy for the job at A&M. And by the way, I'll say this, and some have said that I'm hard on A&M. A&M, their expectations have been a bit off to what their history would tell you they are. They have been a middle-of-the-road conference team, regardless of the conference that they've been in, outside of a few seasons where there's blips in the radar and they kind of jump up. Now, having said that, they support their team from a fan base standpoint, from a booster standpoint, from a facility standpoint, from an NIL standpoint. They support their team as if it's a top 10 program, and that's what they expect. That's what they want. So no fan base, you could make a strong argument, no fan base deserves a winner more than Texas A&M in terms of the way that they've supported their program versus the results that they've been given. Those have been two things that have been polar opposites. Their results have just not married to the way that they've supported their program. I'm hoping for them and for that fan base in particular that Mike Elko is the guy that can kind of bring it all together. Jimbo was never a good fit culturally down there. Even, with the accent, I just don't think that he bought into the Aggie way, if you want to, kind of put it bluntly. And I think Elko will. And I think that's a big deal down there, a really big deal down there. I know this has nothing to do with the actual game. This idea that Trev Alberts leaves Nebraska to be the AD at Texas A&M is wild to me. Like, that's just an interesting, backstory in the back of my head.
So Sunday night in Las Vegas, I think this is fascinating because I think these programs kind of mirror each other right now. You in LSU and USC, you've got two coaches going into year 3. They haven't achieved what they wanted to. Both have played for a conference championship in year 1. Both have Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks, but there's really nothing. There's a lot of meat left on the bone. You've got 2 new quarterbacks in this game. You've got 2 new defensive coordinators. I would have posted this total in the low 80s if they played last year. How improved are the defenses, and what's the biggest storyline with these two teams for you, Klatt?
Well, remember, you have 2 new defensive coordinators for 2 very different reasons, right?
Yeah.
If you're LSU, you're hoping that you can retain a level of defensive play that you feel like is common to what LSU always puts out there. If you're USC, you're praying that you can line up correctly.
Hey, Klatt,
By the way, I'm not joking. I wish I should bring my iPad up here some days and you should have seen it last year. Their schematic deficiencies. You want to know what when I watch film during the week and I see things like that, I throw things around. I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? So I do think USC's defense can expect to be much better. Maybe not great, but much better, just based on the fact that I think that they'll line up properly. I go over this, by the way, with my son's flag football teams. Do you know your basically a defense has 3 jobs, basically. Now, you can get into a lot more than this, and I'm sure defensive coaches would gruff at this, but it's really this: alignment, assignment, acceleration. That's what defenses do. If you can line up properly, know your job, and then accelerate to the football, you can play quality defense. Sorry, guys, ain't that tough. Offense is very intricate. You've got all sorts of stuff going on in these concepts. Defense is just not that difficult. Align, assign, and accelerate. And I think that USC will do that. Now, to answer your question more specifically about that game, I'm bullish on USC. I think LSU can be really good, but man, they lose a lot. And you could be saying well, hey, you're losing Caleb Williams. Yes, but the track record would suggest that it doesn't matter for Lincoln Riley. Because if you go back to what he is as a play caller, going back to his time at Oklahoma, his yards per play offense going back to 2017 or first in college football, first in college football, first in college football, 11th in college football, third in college football, 6th in college football. He is a top offense regardless of who the quarterback is. And I understand that most of those guys have been elite quarterbacks, but Miller Moss is a guy that he feels like resembles a lot of Baker Mayfield, can play within the system. He can make quality throws down the field, and that will allow them to run the football more. Last year, this is not a knock against Caleb Williams, because when you've got this type of talent, maybe you can go rogue, and he did, and that worked. But they didn't run the football as much because Caleb didn't hand it off. A lot of the run plays, remember, this is still a Mike Leach offense at its core. At its root base, it's a Mike Leach offense, which means they don't necessarily just call run plays. A lot of this stuff is RPO at the line of scrimmage. The quarterback decides when you're going to hand the football off, when you're going to throw it out to a little bubble screen, and when you're going to throw the football down the field. There's options on every single snap. Well, Caleb, he wanted the ball in his hands, and rightly so. He's a generational talent who won a Heisman Trophy, and he's the first pick in the draft. Miller Moss will run the system. And Lincoln feels like that's going to put them in more advantageous spots to run the football, be more effective on the ground, and ultimately be a quality offense, which you saw, by the way, against Louisville in the Holiday Bowl. Miller Moss threw for 6 touchdown passes. I'm giving this long dissertation to tell you, I like USC in that game. And if USC is able to win that game, you will likely see them as a 9-win team facing Notre Dame the last week of the season. And I believe if they win that, they would have a chance to go to the playoff. That's how big this game is. I know everyone's saying well, the games don't quite matter because you can always make the playoffs if this or that. I know you guys need a break and everything, but I'm on one. No. The regular season is still so important. This game is vital. Do you understand that a conference's 4th or maybe 5th entrance into the college football playoff rests on this game? The balance of whether the SEC has more teams in the playoff or the Big Ten has more teams in the playoff probably rests on USC and LSU, because those are the teams that will be vying for that 3rd or 4th spot. We don't think they're going to win their respective conferences, not with Georgia and Texas and Ohio State and Oregon out there. But if they can win that game, they can have precedent in the narrative of college football for their conference to try to get that 4th or maybe even 5th spot in the playoff for their conference. That's how big this game is week 1 of the season. I get excited about it. You got me all excited.
Oh, I love we're excited, Klatt. We got Klatt on one, and it's just week 1.
Well, we got to ask him about Deion Sanders. How has your coach gotten so soft?
Oh, wow. Straight to the point.
Wow.
I love me some Deion.
You keep asking questions like that, I'm gonna ban you from the press room.
I mean, it's not the best look. I don't know the kid that was asking the questions.
It's not. Listen, I think that in one respect, Like the one with the CBS guy, I know him. His name's Eric Christensen. He's a local CBS reporter. When he was like, "Oh, CBS, I'm not going to talk to you." That was out of bounds. And I think Deion knows that. The other one, though, about a reporter who all they want to do is demean and take shots and dig. I think it's well within a program's right to be like, you know what? Like, we're not going to deal with you because you're here to destruct, and that's not what's going to be beneficial for our program. Remember, Deion's job is not to be cordial to the media. Deion's job is not to do interviews. Deion's job is not to be liked by everybody in that room. His job and obligation is to the program and to the players that play for it. And so if he feels like there is a reporter that is destructive to that cause, he is well within his rights to say, one, you're not welcome, and two, we will not talk to you. I wish more guys would actually do it. I think that reporters in general have such an air of superiority and entitlement, and they're not entitled to crap. Sorry, but they're not. And maybe I'm saying we when I say they, but you better treat people with respect. You better understand nuance. And if you're just there to destruct, and if you're just there to take shots, then don't cry when you're not allowed to do so.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought it was a little too far when they changed his title from head coach to supreme leader, though. Thought that was a little too far.
Pitt State, West Virginia, 11 o'clock. The big noon kick on Fox. Thank you, Klatt. We'll see you next week.
You guys are the best. I'll talk to you soon. Next Monday. Here we go.
That's right. Next Monday. See you, Klatt. Klatt with us on the JohnStarBCenter.com hotline. He joins us each week, courtesy of MyBookie.ag, code next round, where Penn State's an 8.5-point favorite in that game. Klatt will be calling at MyBookie.ag, code next round.
All right. Quick break here. We got overtime today, so we'll work in some of our great sponsors in our overtime hour coming up, and we'll get a little Alabama news conference today. Auburn later in the afternoon on this Monday, back to its normal time on Labor Day. We got a live show Labor Day coming up. Show is being brought to you by our friends at Odie's, where we get live music last week. We had trivia last week, and now we're rolling into a new week with those great 2 locations.
Odie's Team Trivia, we do it every Wednesday night. The original location at Crestline, the newest location, Edgewood. You can get great food from Rodney Davis at both. Award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches like the Diablo sandwich, ice-cold beer buckets full of Bud Light. Get into one of those 2 great locations. Tell Will Aver and that great staff the Next Round sent you.
Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Excitement awaits at Barber Motorsports Park for the Fanatec GT World Challenge America, September 6th through the 8th. It's a high-octane weekend you won't want to miss. Witness some of the most iconic sports cars like Lamborghini, McLaren, Porsche, and Ferrari battling it out on the track. Enjoy the beer gardens, kids zone, and don't forget to bring your dog for bark at the park on Saturday. The Fanatec GT World Challenge America, September 6th through the 8th. Kids 15 and under get in free. Get your tickets today.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new chicken bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the Bayou, the amazing hand-patted burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trussville. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
LT will need his dry erase board, probably a marker. We're going to do stock report up and down here momentarily. Show being brought to you by Brown's Guy and LT's Guy, A+, the people that change kitchens and bathrooms, and they can do that for you. It all started when Brown's old lady searched the internet.
Lady. Wow. Jennifer Brown.
That's how my dad used to refer to all the wives back in the day. You can't do that anymore unless you're drinking bourbon on Mad Men.
The old ball and chain. My wife scoured the internet looking for the best person to do the job. When it came time to redo our master bathroom, she talked to contractors, people that had used contractors, read reviews. She picked Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. I am so glad she did. Their work was tremendous. Our bathroom looks great. He specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. You can reach him at 205-422-1758. That is 205-422-1758. That is his cell number. Call and get him to come look at your job today. Brad Bell is his name. The company is A+ Tile Home Remodeling. Brad Bell, 205-422-1758.
By the way, since we did talk about Dion banning a reporter, I want to throw out something cool that Dion in association did last week. He opened up a savings account, checking account for every one of his players in association with a local Boulder, Denver credit union, and off of Dion's number, put 2121 in everybody's savings and checking account.
$2,100 or $21?
$2,121.
Well, that's pretty cool.
That's all I needed for a semester back in the day.
Give me through.
So
that's awesome of him.
Every player on the roster with a new checking and savings account, promotional with the credit union out there, but still.
They didn't have to do it.
$2,121. So just don't want it to be all negative, Dion, as they get ready to play their opening weekend coming up. All right. Stock report today is going to be brought to you by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. As LT gets ready to tell you about Woodhouse, hit the button, Tyler.
The College Football Spotlight.
Stock up, stock down. College football stock report.
So sad.
Hey, the weekend is coming up, week 1 of college football, and you want to take care of, as Dunaway said, the old lady. You can get her a gift card online right now from our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. Just think about this. You're going to be at a sports bar. You're going to be in somebody's basement, your basement. You're going to be watching college football just wall to wall from 11 a.m. till past midnight. Treat her to the gift of luxury. Birmingham's best day spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa, located at the Summit Shopping Centers. They've got a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Order that special person gift online 24/7 at birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or just get in, see Stuart and that incredible staff, and make sure you tell them the guys from the Next Round sent you.
Full slate of games next week for us to do stock up, stock down. Limited games this week. So I'm going to go stock up. New Dabo. We all remember when Dabo got the job at Clemson from an interim tag. Not really a lot of people thought it was going to work out the way it did. Brent Key, when he got the interim job last year, I don't think anybody thought he really was going to keep the job.
No.
And now he's 5-0 against ACC-ranked teams. He ended a streak of long, I think it was 15 straight losses to top 10 teams by Georgia Tech. He ended that streak this past weekend. Could he become the new Dabo? Brent Key stock way up, stock down. Jim's picks and apparently his headlines too. Off to a horrible start this season. What did you do all summer, Jim, with your picks and your headlines? Stock way down to start with.
My stock up is going to go to Ireland's games. Normally they're bad games. We get like a Service Academy gets Notre Dame and it's 42-3. That was a buzzer beater field goal, and we've already got the matchup for next year. Iowa State, Kansas State, at least on paper, seems like more of a close matchup there. A Big 12 conference game, just like the ACC started with.
I will remind you, you keep hanging on that Notre Dame blowout. The year before that was Northwestern pulling a huge upset over Nebraska. They were a big underdog.
That is right.
That was a close game.
Yeah. Stock up is Ireland games. We've got 2 out of the 3 that are close right now, Jim. The last 2 out of 3. Forget that Notre Dame blowout over Navy.
Sort of like George Washington or Aaron Burr. You're telling me to talk less.
Talk less, Jim. ACC contenders, my stock down. I mean, if you were counting on Florida State and maybe surprise SMU of being a contender, week 0 was not for you, my friend. You did not want to watch that.
I do feel like we wasted a lot of the summer on SMU thinking they were going to contend. Now, it's only week 0. It was on the road in Nevada where apparently the sunlight was weird for Brown.
Weird light, weird shadows.
Yeah, that is going to be my stock down is SMU's defense. We always talk about Rhett Latchley and this offense with Preston Stone, but the defense is what won them the American last year. They were all over the quarterback. They only had 1 sack. They gave up 24 points to a Nevada offense where there was no expectation through 3 quarters. Nevada also, the Wolfpack, 8 of 18 on 3rd down. So defense for SMU's got to get a lot better if they want to compete in the ACC. And then stock up Jamal Haynes, the running back, 5'9" junior, Georgia Tech, was so good, 6.8 yards per clip, 75 yards on the ground, a couple of touchdowns. He was almost a 1,000-yard guy last year. Good for him that Brent Key was able to keep him out of the portal. He is going to be the yin to the yang that is Haynes King. It's going to be all about Haynes in that backfield.
How about that? That is our stock report today, and we will get to Upset Alert and the rules tomorrow on the show. Upset Alert and the rules.
Did you text Reese?
I did not, but I'm going to go back and look at some old tapes to find the rules from game day, the Super Dogs. We are on our way to the Selma Quarterback Club tonight. Looking forward to being down there, and there is a chance, if everything works out, that we're going to do a live show on our platform from the Selma Quarterback Club tonight with a live studio audience, take questions from them, and sit back and talk a little football.
Yeah, I'm excited. Gus Colvin, who is one of the guys that runs their quarterback club, this will be the 3rd time that we've done it. I think the first time was about a decade ago, and then we did it couple of years ago in a different venue. We're going to be at a different venue downtown this year.
They can't keep a place.
No, so we're going to get there for the cocktail mixer at like 6 o'clock. I think we're going live at 7 o'clock. At least that's the plan, but would love to have the interaction from viewers and listeners watching us.
Should be a whole lot of fun tonight from the Selma Quarterback Club, and we'll do Upset Alert again tomorrow. But 1 hour to go today, and then overtime, as it's back to football season, we'll go overtime with Kalen DeBoer's news conference. All that still to come on the show that's brought to you in the final hour now. It's 11 o'clock, so it's officially Champy's Hour here on the show. They bring you the 3rd hour every day, Champy's Chicken, right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Start of the Thompson season didn't go well. Heartbreaking overtime loss, 15-14. Last week, but didn't mean the pregame meal wasn't good with Champy's world famous fried chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Tailgates this week, heading to Jordan Hare or over to Protective or down to Tuscaloosa and Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Take some good Champy's Chicken with you. Call Sterling or swing by there, right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's champyschecken.com.
Follow Jon Lunceford on Twitter @jlunce.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, Trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok. While we're changing the game yet again, Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of the next round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Some of you had a best of the weekend on Harrison Burton winning Saturday night in the Coca-Cola 400 or the Coke Zero 400 down in Daytona. He is Jeff Burton's son. Jeff Burton was on the call for NBC, but it's another win at Daytona for the Wood Brothers, legendary racing team. What are you laughing at?
Go ahead and finish it. I'll tell you my experience in this.
Harrison Burton ends up winning the race and punches his ticket to the playoffs for the Wood Brothers.
So I did not watch the race. But I saw this Sunday morning, and all the reaction was pretty cool, seeing Jeff Burton in the booth. But the video I saw on TikTok was from NASCAR, and the announcer, who was really good, I was like, why are they using the international feed? Why do they not have normal announcers doing this?
I don't think it's the international.
No, I got some guy with a British accent doing NASCAR now.
I just watched a little bit of it, Brownie, flipping between football games, and so I'm sitting there, and it's like it's an F1. It sounds like an F1 race.
Yeah, it does.
But it's a Harrison Butler.
The guy's really good. Yeah. But I was like, I don't know why we got a British accent guy doing NASCAR. That is a weird fit, but he's really good at what he does.
It seems like we'd lean more into Larry the Cable Guy than we would.
I know, the British guy.
Pip Gubna.
Yeah. But that was a cool scene, though.
Yeah, it was always good to have a family member in the booth calling a race when they win. Speaking of racing, big, exciting weekend coming to Barber Motorsports Park, not this weekend, but next weekend, September 6th through the 8th. It's the Fanatec GT World Challenge America coming to the track. Now, this is a high-octane weekend, and you get to, if you want to see the best sports cars in the world racing on that track, these are the Lambos, the McLarens, the Porsche, the Ferraris, all battling it out on the track. That's some fun stuff. They've got the beer gardens out there, the kids zones, and don't forget to bring your dog for Bark at the Park on Saturday. So dogs will be there on Saturday, where you get the dogs out there at that beautiful landscape. The Fanatec GT World Challenge America, September 6th through the 8th. Kids 15 and under get in free, so get your tickets now at Barber Motorsports Park, not this weekend, but next weekend for the big racing. All right, more football reaction as we go here. Eventually 4 downs in just a second. And about less than an hour away from the Kalen DeBoer news conference from Tuscaloosa. And we'll get that to you coming up in overtime after 12 noon today. I get the feeling that some of you, Tyler, if you'll give me cut 6, they won the game, but some of you I feel like are more disappointed in, or equally disappointed in SMU as you are with Florida State, who actually lost the game.
I think I'm more disappointed, honestly.
More disappointed.
Yeah.
Tell me that after you listen to Rhett Lashley. First game as a member of the ACC. It's on their proud backdrop that they took all the way to Reno, Nevada with them. But the ACC, I don't think it didn't look like the team they thought they were getting in this first game. Here's Rhett.
Not the kind of football we want to play. That probably is the most undisciplined game we played since I've been the head coach here. Not proud of that. I think we had 11 penalties for over 100 yards that were accepted. So just some really self-inflicted wounds. It made it really hard on our offense for about really the first half to get any kind of momentum or anything going, because as soon as we get a first down, it felt like we were in 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 20 and 1st and 20 because of penalties we had. But we found a way to win in the fourth quarter, I think down 2 scores, ball on our own 2-yard line with around 2 minutes to go. Guys dug deep. So it's not always how you win, it's that we won, and we're 1-0.
See, I do think they won, Brownie, so that's important.
Yeah, it's important, but long term, do I think Florida State can win games playing the way they played against Georgia Tech in the ACC? They can. Can SMU win games in the ACC playing the way they played Saturday night? They cannot.
Yeah, look, it looked like they were equivalent teams, and that should never be the case when you're a 4-touchdown favorite over Nevada. But they get Houston Christian, they get BYU and TCU at home before they welcome Florida State. So 4 straight home games coming up, and then they've got Louisville. Really, if I'm an SMU fan, based on what I saw, I do believe we can get a lot better. And you just have to really split that game with Florida State and Louisville. If that's the case, you're 5-1. After that, there's a good chance you win out. So, SMU still is in a really good situation just based on schedule.
10 minutes to go in the game. Their back is against the wall. Here's what I'll say for SMU. Their back is against the wall, 10 minutes to go in the game. Nevada has got it in SMU territory. At the time, Nevada up by 11. And for some reason, Nevada chose to throw it 3 straight times. They were grinding clock. I mean, you gave the time of possession. It was crazy.
Oh, it's great. It was total time of possession was 36-17 to 23-43.
Yeah, grinding clock. And SMU had no answer for their run game. And for some reason, they chose to throw it 3 straight times. They get a penalty. They punt SMU deep, get a penalty on the punt that SMU accepts. They punt them even deeper. And you're like, holy crap, what is going on here? And one play changed everything. The pass it out of the end zone to the tight end. And they hit Maryland. He's open. He runs it out near midfield, and everything from there flipped, and then Nevada melted down.
Yeah, any way they possibly could.
Yeah.
Our Stews in the mybookie.ag chat room, promo code next round. In my 3 guarantees, I had SMU winning the ACC, not looking good after that performance.
I would agree.
I did notice there was not just our Stews. There was a couple of people that had SMU win the ACC.
Yeah, that was a popular play.
Jesse says... again, they bought their way into the ACC. They didn't play their way. They didn't earn it. They bought their way in.
That is true.
It was a good team last year, though. They've got a really good collective. You're right. They have bought their way into it.
They're not even taking money from the ACC.
Yeah. And Rod says the NASCAR announcer is Australian, a regular guy not pulled from the NASCAR broadcast, U.S. citizen now. The regular guy got pulled from the NASCAR broadcast, U.S. citizen now.
Yeah, Lee Diffie's old boy's name. He's really good. It was just a weird sound for a NASCAR.
Lee Diffie. Brought me up next to the jukebox.
Joe Diffie's kid.
I don't know if he sang that song or not. Joe Diffie.
Joe Diffie, dead or alive?
Dead.
Joe Diffie, I think, passed, Lance, unfortunately.
Yeah. A while ago, right?
Yeah.
About a decade ago?
We were in radio.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I think heart attack.
No. I know he's died, but you think it was when we were in radio?
Oh, 100%. I can tell you where I was sitting.
I think it was over
March
a decade
29th, 2020.
Yeah, right there in radio.
I'm going to tell you, Brown, you were off that day.
I was off that was the day after my birthday. Why was I off?
I don't know, but Joe Diffie, when he died, I was sitting in your seat having to run the phones, and then there was an empty chair where I normally sit, and Brown was over there. I can remember it. I can remember that scene.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That is so weird that you remember that. John Deere Green, probably Joe Diffie's best song or biggest hit, if I had to guess, is John Deere Green.
Yep. John Deere Green. I do like that song.
Do you?
I do like. I
was
like
never a
John
big
Deere.
fan of that one.
All right. Chris has a question. Then we'll get to 4 downs. Chris's question is going to be brought to you from the Dr. B chat line.
Do we have that now?
Yeah. Dr.
Just
B's
for this one specific moment.
chat line.
Hey, Dr. B helping me out, thinning out a little bit. A couple of
texted
years
it to
ago,
me.
my hair has more than doubled in thickness since I first went to see Dr. B. Write this number down, call, schedule the AA consultation, 205-319-0316. Brown is doing the same treatment I'm doing. It's the non-invasive treatment, 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. Did it while watching a Little Americans last night. T3hair.net for more information for more than 20 years. Women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training in genetic testing, to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B and that great staff today, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
All right, Chris's question. Does any SEC team lose in week 1?
Well,
instantly you go Vandy first.
Well, they play Virginia Tech. I mean, they're a big underdog. Klatt just gave you USC winning. I mean, that was at the tail end of Klatt was saying a lot there at the end of that interview. But he liked USC over LSU, which would be a big upset and bad for Brian Kelly.
If Chris would allow me to sort of change his question a little bit. I mean, Vandy's not supposed to beat Virginia Tech.
They are not.
Okay, so take that one off the board.
Okay.
In games that the SEC is supposed to win or that it's 50-50 or close, does the SEC lose any of those games in your opinion?
They're going to lose either this Miami, Florida, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, USC, LSU.
Yeah.
They're going to lose one of those games.
Clemson, Georgia, do you throw that in there?
I don't.
Yeah, I would think that would be the biggest surprise of all.
Yeah. I mean, Lance is right. I think at least one of those 3 goes against the SEC. Now, I'm not sure which one it is because I've talked myself into thinking the SEC wins all 3 of those. But you're right. I'm realistic to know the SEC enough to know the SEC is not going to win all 3 of those.
Now, Western Kentucky gets Alabama. Our show dynamic changes completely on Monday.
It's going to be interesting Labor Day at that point. Yes,
I will. In fact, we can go for a late dinner if you want to on Sunday night. Because I'll do no show notes.
Just start the show then and keep going till we're done.
Yeah, we can bring out the flames again and just be a crazy show. Just have the fire burning around us if it actually happens. So, Chris, thank you for the question, and we appreciate it so much. See, this will be our show on Monday if Western Kentucky upsets Alabama.
For
TJ Finley,
teams
Western Kentucky,
that are only 7 or less underdogs or favorites, what would be the most uncomfortable loss? And with that, I'm talking about Mario Cristobal. I'm talking Billy Napier. I'm talking Lincoln Riley. I'm talking Brian Kelly.
I think Brian Kelly, Lance. I think losing to USC because this is not a vintage USC team, and I think Sunday, if you're an LSU fan, you've already thought we'll beat LSU in Vegas, we'll beat UCLA in Baton Rouge. It's the SEC I got to worry about. And if you don't even make it to the SEC schedule undefeated for Brian Kelly, I'm not saying he's going to get fired, but I do think it starts to get uncomfortable for him.
I mean, they're the betting favorite, but nobody's going to think less of Mike Elko if they lose this game.
No, it's his first game. And it's Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're right. And, Marcus Freeman wouldn't be a great loss.
No.
Yeah. But they've already got a feeling about Billy Napier. It's a job saver for him. But I do think Mario Cristobal, it starts to cement some thoughts that we're worried about. Interesting would be Clemson over Georgia, where this is the first time you heard in our guarantee show back on Friday from the Floribama that a lot of people are starting to question whether Georgia, they lose 2 games. Can they lose 3 games and miss the playoffs? There's some doubt about Georgia. Boy, that would ramp up if they lost that game. But you're right, USC, LSU, Brian Kelly to this USC team would be the one.
I think even bigger at 11 o'clock because I just don't see Clemson winning that game. I think Clemson can keep it close. That would be that'd be shocking. I mean, for Georgia to really lose what?
Well, let me
2 of the last 3 games.
Yeah, that would be shocking. 2 of the last 3, and the one they won, by the way, in that stretch was against a badly depleted Florida State team. Let me play this, though. What if Georgia does what a lot of people think they will do and wins that game by 21?
Yeah.
What is that for Dabo? I mean, at that point, you've been undressed by a clear national championship contender and have shown you don't belong on that stage at this moment.
Yeah, I think it shows you that, again, you're not going to be able to win a national championship. You haven't won one since 19, so it's going to be a 5-year drought.
I have a little card in my back pocket if I'm Dabo. My pregame speech is going to be all about what Oregon did post losing 49-3 to Georgia at Mercedes-Benz Stadium to start off Dan Lanning's Bo Nix's time at Oregon.
Bo Nix pick 6, and we were like, oh, here we go again. This is going to be a long year. And they completely flip it around and had an opportunity to win the Pac-12 that year.
Yeah, and then the next year they were pretty darn good again.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, another bad loss would be James Franklin. Because you just heard Joe Klatt talk about, look, the only games they lose are to Michigan and Ohio State. If they were to go into that really difficult environment and to lose week 1 before you hit the Big Ten.
Yeah, we got all week to break those games down. We got right now to do today's 4 downs. We do it every day. It's brought to you by our friends at Slice Pizza, 5 great locations.
Yeah, Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, the newest location in Edgewood, across Oxmoor and Broadway. Stop and see the Vijaya Brothers local pizza, local ingredients from the Soul Pie, the Hot Mama, the Wing and a Prayer. You're going to absolutely love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Florida State, SMU, and Georgia Tech to win the ACC or the rest of the ACC.
Florida State, SMU, Georgia Tech, or the rest of the ACC.
So the 3 that we have seen play this weekend, or would you take the field?
I'll take the field. Give me Clemson and NC State, maybe Virginia Tech. I feel very comfortable.
I'll hold with just my Clemson.
Yeah.
Clemson was my pick before the year, and I'll go Clemson. It only got better for the Clemson Tigers over this weekend. Second down, Tyler.
Second down.
Macaulay Culkin, 44 years old. If I ask you ultimately better career, Macaulay Culkin or his brother Kieran Culkin?
Yes, it's hard to believe you're asking that question. Kieran, though, with his role on Succession was tremendous. I mean, he may be the breakout star of that show.
And you got to think some good things are coming his way now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Lunceford or Tyler, maybe you guys know what he's been cast in. I haven't seen any projects coming up, but he was tremendous on Succession.
He's got an upcoming movie with Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, interesting.
It's called A Real Pain. Thank you, Lunceford.
Real Pain. Lunceford from the back.
Lunceford is right, though. Kieran has had a career. Macaulay has had a role. It was a big role.
It was a big one.
It was a big role. But he's right about that.
That's a deep thought. You get those kind of thoughts with the Meltdown, 2 o'clock this afternoon, Central, Lunceford in Melton.
Well, I think I'll go Kieran.
I bet if you would have told his parents or their parents back in the day that actually Kieran's going to be the one with the bigger success, I don't think people would have believed that.
Sometimes it's good to come on late, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Late to the party.
Third down.
Melissa McCarthy, 54 years old today. John Mulaney, 42. Ultimately better career. Melissa McCarthy, John Mulaney.
Jenny McCarthy is who Mulaney's married to, right? No?
I don't think so. No, that's Donnie Wahlberg.
No, okay. I get them confused all the time. This is the funny girl, right?
Melissa
McCarthy?
Yeah. Really good in Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Now.
She's typecasted, but
well, you can only shit in the sink so many times, right?
She's really good in So This Is 40 or This Is 40 or something like that when she's the mom of the other lady. We may need another we may need the Deadwood segment again. Yeah.
Does anybody know what that always talks about?
Yeah. She's like they're in the meeting, the principal and the 2 parents, and she's the mother of the other one, and she's
Her best work was St. Vincent. Have you guys ever seen St. Vincent?
Put on your headgear and make a pick. Let's go.
St. Vincent's
I think I'm
really
right
good
about
movie
this.
with Bill Murray.
I am going to go Melissa McCarthy here. It's not what I'm passionate about, but I'll go Melissa McCarthy. I know you had to have a comparison.
Yeah. I'm going to go Melissa McCarthy too. Yeah.
I'll go Melissa McCarthy as well.
Yeah, but I do like Mulaney's the comedian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him too.
Fourth down.
James Harden, the beard, 35 years old today. Better career, James Harden or James Taylor?
You mean great value Paul Feinbaum?
I probably like James Taylor more than anyone on this set. I've seen him in concert numerous times.
I've actually seen him in concert. You're right. I really don't like him.
And his music it has lasted. People will still pay to go see James Taylor, and that's 40
paying
years.
to see James Harden, right?
Yeah, but they want 40 years from now. Yeah. So I will go James Taylor, better career.
Brownie, I hate to tell you, they will not be paying to see James Taylor 40 years
No,
from now.
but they have paid it for 40 years. That's my point. Harden will do it for 10, 15 years.
I think I was 2 blankets down from Terry Bowden in the infamous James Taylor concert at the Oak Mountain Amphitheater.
I'll never forget it. I was at that one. And I will the next morning on Jocks.
Jimmy Bamo's probably trying to buy him drinks.
Yeah.
Next morning on Jocks, Matt and Scott are taking phone calls. People bitching about Terry Bowden, right?
Terry Bowden. What didn't practice?
Yeah.
He left practice early to fly up to Birmingham.
Yeah. For James Taylor.
James Taylor.
Yep,
Yeah.
I remember it. I'll go James Taylor.
Yeah, I'll go James Taylor as well. And that's 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, 5 great locations. Stop in, get a slice and a salad today. Pick up a couple of pies on your way home. For more information on their great product, go to slicebirmingham.com.
Laura says, I fell asleep at a James Taylor concert at Oak Mountain back when they had lawn seats.
I was in the lawn. Maybe that was the same concert.
Yeah, I can see that. The Indica hits hard.
Lawn was the best place for James Taylor, I thought. We purposely got the lawn seats to see James Taylor.
So we went to the
REO Speedwagon.
Yeah, what is it called? Is it called the not Baytown Wharf? What's it called?
No, it's the Wharf
at Orange
Amphitheater.
Beach.
Yeah,
Wharf at yeah. So it started. I guess opening act was Yacht Rock Review.
Very good.
REO Speedwagon. We left at halftime of REO Speedwagon.
Guess the number of songs we heard with Lance.
Did they?
Everybody agreed they were ready to roll though.
That's okay.
Let me ask you.
Did they play any of their hits early?
Yeah. They started with "Take It on the Run," I think.
They do "All Out of Love." I'm all out of love.
That's
I'm
Hair
lost
Supply.
without you.
REO Speedwagon did not in fact do that song. No.
I told Brown, I was like, the best thing they could do with this is Yacht Rock Review plays nothing but REO Speedwagon songs.
That was a good line.
And show how much better they are than him.
Just run them off.
We saw 4 REO Speedwagon songs. We bailed before they were done, and we didn't see any of Train, which, as it turns out, was a great choice because apparently Pat Monahan had lost his voice.
Yeah, our boy Steve Powers said that he said like 3 songs in, hey, I'm almost done with my voice. What do you guys want to hear?
Yeah, y'all. And I was like, did anybody say either Drops of Jupiter or Meet Virginia? Because that's it. Yeah.
Truthfully, I'd like to see another hour of Yacht Rock Review. Can you get those guys back?
I can't make this up. What do you think? 2 drinks, just 2 cocktails, one bourbon and 1 vodka when I would go buy these.
Well, I think the beers at Jordan Hare this year, if duly reported correctly, is going to be $15 a beer. So I'm going to go $15.
I just did the 10% tip. It was 55 and change.
For 2 drinks.
For 2 drinks.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, I see that it says doubles are $21.50. Should I go on and order a double? Maybe I get a better value. And he's like, no, everything we pour is doubles.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're
going to pour a double, we're going to tax it, and then you're going to tip on top of that tax.
That's right.
Yeah, we only pour doubles. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can't make it up. It was 55 and change for a 10% tip.
Yeah, that was crazy. Our Suze was Marty Bird there asking the REO Speedwagon tech guy to launder $100,000. It'd be much more interesting.
Yes, it would have been.
All right, when we come back, we'll do trash today and more football to end up Kalen DeBoer in about 34 minutes. This is the next round on a Week 1 Monday. TNR.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239 Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
J. Mo's on 2 drinks for $55, LT. Good Lord. I can get a good bottle of bourbon for $55.
If it was BYOB.
So across the street from where we stay, so we were at the Phoenix 10, and across the street you got Old River Grill, you got the Yacht Club, but you also have the Floribama Package Store. And so I told a friend that we were with the same thing. I was like, I guarantee you we get a good bottle of bourbon because it was just Woodford Reserve. I mean, it's a good, solid bourbon. But we walk in that package store right after, and you could get a bottle of Buffalo Trace for $46.
Are you kidding me?
So basically a 10-spot less for a liter.
So $46 for Buffalo Trace, $5 for duct tape, and you put that on the calf. I need to be there. We could have got 2 bottles in because I've got bad calves. We could have put 2 on there, and I walked in with those.
I feel like I'm too old to be sneaking alcohol into a venue that sells alcohol.
Never grow up.
But for the pricing, I mean, and I was telling Taylor about it earlier before the show, and she's like, well, there's nothing you can do. Like they've got whatever price point they want, which is true.
They got you. Hey, tell us about Inverness Country Club. You want a good price point. They have so much fun for you waiting right there.
Yeah, they've got memberships that will fit everyone. A social membership including the resort-style pool complex, full-service cabana and bar, live music on Friday nights, Sunday brunch, the golf membership with a beautiful course, currently expanding the driving range, child care, also a big plus. You and your wife on a day of golf or tennis, guess what? You can drop the kid, go have yourself a day on the court or course, dinner with friends, knowing your kid is safe on site. Massive plus. Maybe you work from home. What about working from the club while they watch your kid? Whatever your interests are, you can find it at Inverness. They even have a vineyard club. The best days happen in Inverness. Take a tour of this unbelievable club today. Call Erin. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
By the way, Ole Miss, Chris Kiffin, Lane's brother, is back at Ole Miss. He's an analyst now. The passing of Monty Kiffin. Lane getting a family member to be a defensive analyst there to sort of, I think, help keep him in the know of what's going on over in the defensive room and stuff. Big pickup for Texas. 5-star linebacker Jonah Williams picks Texas. Auburn gets a flip from a Michigan commitment, and a lot more news on Auburn recruiting right now at thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com, and Alabama recruiting and stuff on the week 1 of the Tide. Currently right there at covercrimson.com, covercrimson.com. Go check that out. Back to Brent Key real quickly before we do trash.
Mm-hmm.
He now has, and this is important if you like to go to mybookie.ag, 10 outright wins as underdogs. 10 outright wins when he's the underdog, Brent Key. 10 times as the underdog, he's won the game. Good money line play. Good money line play
I'd say
there.
so, Coach. 5 ranked wins as the Georgia Tech head coach. And the first, as they were saying in the broadcast, if I heard this right, first top 10 win in 15 tries for Georgia Tech.
Well, since Georgia Tech blocked that kick, the
against
miracle
Florida State,
at Brentwood or whatever
2015, forever ago.
Yeah, I know. That has been an eternity ago.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I think a safe play already. I'm
Georgia
already
State?
looking ahead.
You
Is
going
Georgia
Georgia
State
State?
plus 21.5. You come back, you get a little jet lagged. I just don't see the offense being as tight as it was.
Got a little rat poison.
A little rat poison. I mean, look, if you only get 7 possessions, it's tough to score, 22-plus points.
Yeah. No, I agree 100% with you on that.
Yeah. All right. The Kayla DeBoer News Conference coming up at the top of the hour. All right. Trash time here. It's brought to you by Mortgage Right. We roll into it right after Tyler hits the big button.
I'm here with the winner, Derek Lewis. Derek, why'd you take your pants off?
My balls was hot.
I understand.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
If you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process easy. Speaking of veterans, they were veteran-founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call that Birmingham office, 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Little breaking news. Can I drop this in real quick?
Knock it out, man. Unless you want to save it for the paywall.
No. We don't do breaking news here. It's all behind the paywall.
Premium content.
Premium content. Thank you, Tyler.
This is from Little T.
Yeah.
And Clemson on 3 Sports actually tweets it out. No Tyler from Spartanburg ever again. Dabo Sweeney will no longer take live callers on his radio show.
Oh, I wonder
I
why.
wouldn't after I played Georgia either.
I will tell you, man, that doesn't make me feel good about Clemson this year.
It really doesn't. Dabo already planning ahead.
Yeah, wow.
Tyler from Spartanburg. That was a live caller.
Fast food giant Chick-fil-A has ruffled feathers over new reports claiming the company is working to expand its chicken sandwich and waffle fry empire into the entertainment space.
What? That's my surprise voice.
Don't understand this at all.
You got to explain this to me.
Chick-fil-A apparently moving quickly to create its very own streaming platform with a slate of original and licensed content, according to Variety and Deadline. Now, the service won't be just chick flicks either. The company has, you get that? The company has reportedly been in talks with various Hollywood production companies to create family-friendly, mostly unscripted original shows. When we got back to the condo, flipping around on one of the streaming channels, and they had something that was... It was a network, and it was all about wholesome content.
Yeah.
And I thought it was one of the weirdest things that I had seen previewed, but I guess this is the direction they're going. Variety reported Chick-fil-A has already secured a game show from Glassman Media and a 10-episode series by the talent company Sugar 23.
Well, I mean, the movie guys will attest to this. I don't know of any of them doing, but Tyler and Lunceford, they used to be in the video store an area where you could get some of the R movies that were edited out, some of the bad scenes to make it kid friendly. There's a service that does that, right? There is something that does that. There are some theaters that allow you to do that, and some movies refuse you to do that. But.
Well, the dude that's producing this, Michael Sugar, produced Spotlight, great movie. Doesn't seem like Chick-fil-A content.
No.
And 13 Reasons Why. I never saw it, but I heard it was impactful. It was disturbing in some levels, but
Lunceford, have you seen that? 13 Reasons Why?
That's the Netflix show about the person that kills himself.
Yeah,
right?
A teenager, I believe.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very
that's what that is,
Chick-fil-A, but
I would
not Chick-fil-A at all.
I would tell you that I'm a capitalist, despite the way Clay paints me every Tuesday. I believe in capitalism.
Okay.
You can make enough money to be uber successful just selling that number one combo, right?
Well, you can, but
And almost every single streaming platform out there is hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including
I would just
Netflix
say
and
this,
all the big ones out
your
there.
best business move, and I've always respected the fact that you haven't done it, open on Sundays. Forget the headache of this. You know what you've got.
Yeah, no, I'm okay on the non-Sunday thing.
I would rather do the Sundays than the streaming.
I think so many people lean into that they like supporting that because they're not open on Sunday and stuff. I'm just saying the menu keeps getting bigger, Brown.
Are they going to allow their product to be streamed on Sundays?
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Well, yeah, but that's that's a different concept, though. Well, because you may not have employees working if the product's streaming. I mean, the work has already been done. It doesn't necessarily mean somebody's got to be at the office.
So you think it's more about the employees?
I think them not opening on Sunday?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. The employees and the PR and the image. It's what they built their whole...
I think it's the PR and the image, though. I really don't think they...
But it's what they built their whole franchise.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But the family hasn't sold it, right? I mean,
the Cathy family still owns it.
No, the Cathy still owns it, right?
No.
Okay. No, but that was my concern when I'm hearing all this, because without naming them, I question some of their drive-through scenarios now.
Right.
They're really, against the boomer here. They're really against me walking into the stores now. It seems like they really want me to stay in my car.
But I think, don't underestimate the fact that they just think there needs to be a platform for what they view as wholesome family content.
Right.
So they are making literally hundreds of billions of dollars, I would imagine, selling chicken, or maybe billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And if they start as Lunceford said, Lunceford is probably not going to make money on itself, but it's something that they feel like there's a need for.
No,
I mean, I got no problem with that.
It may. I mean, if you're a person that only wants to consume non-R-rated content or even PG-13 content, that's a safe place to go.
And there was
that'll make a killing. I'm starting to be more concerned about the chicken side of it.
I think the chicken side of it's quite healthy if you look at their numbers. There was that church in Georgia that was producing like Christian-based
movies. Like Little Giants, right?
Yeah, Little Giants. They did a couple others. You know, like our friends, the Irwin brothers here in Birmingham, they've done some family stuff. They did Woodlawn. They did the
Kurt Warner
movie. So I could see them like, hey, this needs a more prominent platform for stuff like that we think is wholesome. We're not really worried about making a fortune off of it. We just want to provide the platform with some money behind it.
Yeah, but if I'm Michael Sugar, who's produced Spotlight and 13 Reasons Why, I want to make sure that we are making money.
Yeah. Well, he'll
make money.
Yeah. They're going to pay him. His money will be good. Now, how many people sees it?
I think Michael's probably counting the money right here on this movie.
We've got a sawfish, a type of ray-related sharks, immediately recognizable by its stout, also called a rostrum or saw, often dubbed prehistoric. Scientists studying fossils say sawfish evolved from ancient species. There are a group, including raised skate sharks that have no bones or skeletons, only cartilage, and they eat fish, shrimp, and crabs. Now, finding the sawfish at the Florida-Georgia border and the news of the sawfish caught off of Central Florida's east coast earlier this month are positive signs in what has been a year of bad news for the beleaguered animals. Now, Jim Glester, a professor and coastal marine biologist at the University of North Florida, also sees it as a chance to raise awareness about this rare species and fight for its recovery. Florida adopted protections in 1992, and the U.S. population of sawfish was the nation's first native marine fish listed under the Endangered Species Act of 2003. By that time, the fish were only found in pockets of Southwest Florida.
Let me ask you, what do you think back in the day they used that for? Was that, I mean, obviously it doesn't saw.
Cut down a tree.
Yeah.
Somebody go get the sawfish.
I mean, it looks,
trees in the way.
It really does look like a Bob the Builder character.
It's even got a smile on its face.
It really does.
We've got, Bob, we got some trees that are falling and blocking the stream now.
Okay.
Oh, call our friend the sawfish.
So
he'll come and take care of it.
If the saw part hits my leg, does that do anything to me, or is that all for looks?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just scaring things away.
Ooh.
So I've told you guys about Monkey Island that used to be at the Birmingham Zoo.
Yeah, I loved Monkey Island.
They've got a monkey forest now.
At the Birmingham Zoo?
Nope.
Oh.
One man seemed annoyed after visiting the Trentham Monkey Forest.
No way. I'm not doing this.
This is actually, believe it or not, in the UK. Now, this guy who took to TripAdvisor to moan after stopping off at the attraction and spotting the creatures, he seemed to suggest there were, quote, too many monkeys in the woodland, and he would have preferred to see a bigger variety of animals instead. Now, the review reads, quote, the park is pleasant. The overall experience is decent. However, it primarily features monkeys, which makes the price seem too high in our opinion. Yeah, it's Monkey Forest, by the way.
Yeah, what did you think you were getting?
And by the way, if there are tigers and lions rolling around, you probably aren't sitting that close to them.
No, that's true. Monkeys are the safer ones. They think his butt's funny.
Anyway, the Trentham Monkey Forest allows visitors to walk along forest paths and observe the monkeys in a more natural and relaxed setting as the animals roam freely within a protected environment.
LT, over under how long until this update story comes back and one of the monkeys have attacked somebody?
Is she taking a picture of his ass?
She is.
Yeah. And the kids are laughing. Look at his red butt.
We got an update.
Okay, the weirdest Guinness World Record state are set in each U.S. state. The one in Alabama, we actually had the guy on when he was setting it. I'll get back to that at the end. We will start in Utah. What do you think the most bowling balls held simultaneously has been?
So I guess you're just holding them in your arms like that. I would say
the balls weigh, well, I guess a typical bowling ball between 6 and 16 pounds.
And they're hot.
I'm going to say 11.
I was going to say 10.
Yeah, I went 12 when I was thinking this out loud. It's actually 16.
Well, that's a lot.
Wow.
Chad McLean, 2020. Brigham City, Utah set the record. Montana, the largest festival of testicles. For 35 years, the Rock Creek Lodge in Clinton, Montana was home to the Testicle Festival, a celebration including live music, alcohol, and excessive consumption of deep-fried bull testicles. Each year, an estimated 5,600 pounds, or more than 2.5 tons, of animal gonads were devoured by testicle enthusiasts.
Wow. The first two that you've given us both have been holding balls.
Bowling balls and testicles.
There you go.
Dunaway, we were talking to Big Earl on Thursday night when we got into town, and you were telling him about your stand-up act at the Comedy Club Stardom, where he will be November 14th.
He could not believe the story either.
He could not believe your time that elapsed when you were up there. What do you think the longest stand-up comedy show by one individual in the state of Iowa is?
Well, see, he's doing this to set a record, so I'm going to go absurd here and say like 36 hours.
Oh, I was going to say 32 hours, Brown.
April 29, 2013, comedian David Scott started his stand-up show at the Diamond Joe Casino in Dubec, Iowa. Kept going for 40 hours and 8 minutes.
40 hours. I bet it wasn't all funny either.
In Florida, the most bridesmaids to one bride. What's the biggest wedding party you guys have ever been at? For me, I think it was 12 or 13.
I was going to say 12 aside, if I remember correctly.
I think I was number 10 one time.
You were in this one, or you saw one?
I was in it. Julie Greenway.
Yeah, I think 12 aside, if I can remember correctly, that'd be 24, not counting Ring Bearer and Flower Girl and all that.
I just threw the bottom part of the story. It was 100 and how many?
But you hit it. You hit the camera. You hit the camera, though.
Help me out, Tyler.
We all get the free bear.
The bridesmaids?
Yeah.
168.
168 bridesmaids?
Yeah.
So dumb.
Holy crap.
Like your average wedding is probably not even 168 people.
Yeah. That's too much.
Connecticut had the largest collection of hair from historical figures. John Rezanenkoff is known for the guy with the largest collection of hair from historical figures. He's got 115 different people, including Elvis, Napoleon, Marilyn Monroe, King Charles I. Even has a lock taken from Abraham Lincoln on his deathbed.
Wow.
Complete with specks of
You're
brain
not gonna
matter,
need
it
this.
says.
Yes, we could have shaved the head at that point.
And finally, Alabama. Do you guys remember the story? It was before we did a show.
I don't.
Okay, what? Give me the question again.
The weirdest Guinness World Record that was set right here in Alabama.
Wasn't it the... I have no clue.
The highest never ever counted out loud to 1 million. Jeremy Harper. Guy that I knew way back in the day. I haven't seen him in forever, but he came on the show and he was in the middle of it and he'd take breaks. How long do you think it took him to count to 1 million out loud?
I don't even know where to guess.
And I think
on
he
this
still
one.
says it's a massive mistake. Now, if he would have done it like 10 years ago or even like 5 years ago, the social media impact he could have gotten, he probably could have gotten some pretty good followers.
I mean,
he should do it again. Try to break his own record.
In theory, I can count to 60 in a minute, right?
Yep.
One every second.
So to do the math.
So that'd be...
now, they're allowing him to take a break.
Oh, yeah. He had to take like 10-minute breaks every 6 hours.
Yeah.
This is crazy, though.
10,000 hours. I don't even know what that is.
I'm going to say it took him a week and a half.
89 days, 3 months.
How many hours is that?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't
So,
know,
but
24
he
times
was able to
89.
sleep at some time?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he would sleep a regular 8 hours. He just...
That's 2,136 hours. I said 10,000.
Yeah, that's not.
A little off.
I mean, taking...
You know, that would
you
be
can
one of
sleep.
those that you do on the hip. Hey, bracket challenge loser counts to 1 million this year.
Yeah, let's don't do that.
I'd rather jump out of a plane.
Ooh, I don't want to do that either. That's Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
It is buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. They were veteran-founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. MortgageRight.com or 205-900-7200.
Daniel says, I counted backwards before my vasectomy at UCA.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah, me too. I didn't make it past 96. I was awake during my vasectomy. Is
I
that
was too.
normal?
No, they
Yeah.
do UCA, at least my man Packy Mills does a drip. And he told me this. He was like, you're going to love this because a lot of places it might have a little pain. He was like, you won't remember any of this, but you're never out. You're just kind of out of it.
And you do not remember any of it?
Nothing.
No.
I remember mine almost in its entirety. A little puff of smoke from down there is a little startling.
The most I remember about it was the night, a Thursday night game when Oregon went to Tucson to take on Arizona and Dennis Dixon blew his knee.
Oh, no.
That's what I remember
that
the
game.
most about it.
That was a national championship contender. I'm finishing up one of my protein bars from Way to Wellness right now. This one is, I think it's called Rocky Road. It's got a brownie in the middle of it. You won't be able to tell how good it is, but my mouth waters every time I eat one of these. It's absolutely delicious. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living, your opportunity to start that weight loss right now, or maybe the opportunity to control some cholesterol or blood pressure numbers. You can do it with Leslie and her board-certified team, Way to Wellness.
your journey to healthy living. Their website, aplanforme.com, and it gives you an opportunity now to check out everything Leslie has to offer. No contracts, no sign-up fees, and that first consultation that you see the Meltdown guys doing, absolutely free right there with Way to Wellness. And they got some other things, whether it's a shot that can help you a little bit to maybe jumpstart that weight loss or control some things. They've got a variety of ways that can work for you. That's why every plan is designed specifically for you. No cookie-cutter plan. Go to aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries, to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new chicken bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the bayou, the amazing hand-patty burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Excitement awaits at Barber Motorsports Park for the Fanatec GT World Challenge America, September 6th through the 8th. It's a high-octane weekend you won't want to miss. Witness some of the most iconic sports cars like Lamborghini, McLaren, Porsche, and Ferrari battling it out on the track. Enjoy the beer gardens, kids zone, and don't forget to bring your dog for bark at the park on Saturday. The Fanatec GT World Challenge America, September 6th through the 8th. Kids 15 and under get in free. Get your tickets today.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
New pennant Grace live today as well, talking Braves baseball, still 2.5 games in the lead for the wild card spot. Ush and Emily Grace McWhorter live on our platform after overtime. Now that we're in football season, that time will move a little bit now, later into the afternoon. Make sure your alerts are set up. But we go live at the top of the hour, and we stay live for a little bit until we hear the news conferences. And as Kevin writes in, he says, man, it's weird getting used to hearing the offensive and defensive coordinators speak at the podium before the head coach comes out in Tuscaloosa. But that's what they do on Mondays. Yep. 11:30, they go Nick Sheridan, and then Kane Womack steps up, and then Kalen DeBoer step up, so the coaches are talking.
Nick Sheridan with the early quote showing he is a fan of The Office, and Michael Scott, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
Yeah.
He did actually utter that one today. Great Michael Scott line.
That's really good. I will tell you, we have some developing news, breaking news even, about that Alabama-Western Kentucky game. We'll give that to you right after I tell you that our show is being brought to you this hour always by our friends at Champy's, perfect for the tailgate if you're heading to the games this weekend or just want to take it back home. Or for date nights or lunch today, it's Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. That fried chicken that's in the middle there, I'm a big two-breast guy, brined overnight, cooked to order, comes out piping hot. Wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It is so good. Just off the interstate in Alabaster, Highway 119, champyschicken.com.
And what will mark the third team he has faced Alabama as the quarterback of? TJ Finley has been announced as the starting quarterback for Western Kentucky, according to On3 Sports.
Did he ever get in as the Auburn quarterback?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He started the game.
Yeah. And he started for LSU against Alabama.
Started for LSU. 14 of 28, 144 and a touchdown in 2020 against Alabama. In 2021 against Alabama, 17 of 26, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Did not face Alabama in 2022 or 23 because he was at Texas State then. But this will be the third different team TJ Finley has started a game against Alabama with, which is pretty remarkable.
Wow.
So that's your starting quarterback.
Yeah. Layman believer, is Finley the first player to face the same school as a starting quarterback 3 times at 3 different schools?
I mean, I cannot think of another one. There's potentially one there, and we'll have more in the future, I would imagine.
Let's think about this. Who would have played UCF, Oklahoma, and now Oregon?
Because that would be Bo Nix?
No, that would be Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, you're right. You got to find somebody who's good enough to play 3 different times at 3 different schools and played the same team. So the JT Daniels guy, if you found somebody who was USC, Georgia,
I'm going to let y'all track this one down.
Rice.
Yeah, he started 4 different schools.
Yeah. Mr. B says the Hilltoppers getting a $1.9 million payday to play Alabama in this contest.
Yes, sir.
Yikes. By the way, only $360,000 is all Montana State got to go play New Mexico.
Wait, what did they get?
$360,000.
Yeah, I was surprised at that number. Now, this is New Mexico we're talking about here, but
low end FBS against an FCS.
Yeah, but boy, that is not a lot of money. I mean,
that paid for their trip.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That
Barely,
might
right?
cover your cost anymore.
Covers your costs there. And who knows what Delaware State got paid to go to Hawaii, because that seems to be a program struggling for money.
And they were flying commercial, right? So they didn't get enough to charter. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how TJ Finley, like, if you're an Alabama fan, this was the number 15 passing offense in the country last year. Tyson Helton is a coach that likes to throw the football. The Helton family is known for that. Clay and the dad was Kim. They've always been known for airing the ball out, right? So I think if you're an Alabama fan, that kind of excited you a little bit because it's a good game to, as you like to say, Dunaway, shakedown cruise with that secondary, right? And get a team that throws it a lot, see some holes in that secondary, a chance to get things fixed. I don't know how much TJ Finley can expose that. We've seen this guy play. He's not a good quarterback.
Well, and you're downgrading at the quarterback position. Austin Reed was
my gosh, yes,
a really good quarterback who looks like he might make an NFL roster.
Yeah. JT Daniels, Tom says, started against Texas 3, maybe 4 times. We're asking, though, was it at 3 different schools? That's the question, Tom.
Yeah.
I do remember JT probably played him a lot. Did he do it at 3 different schools? Could have done it at West Virginia and Rice. If he sneaks in a USC or Georgia,
you got a winner.
We got a winner there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
3 different schools, though, is pretty crazy to think you've started against the same team.
So TJ Finley is the starter there. Here's my last big thing today. Did you like? I'm told it's not a 2-minute warning; it's a 2-minute timeout. That we made it less aggressive in college.
There's no warning.
It's a 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left, and it's a 2-minute timeout in college.
Exclusive content, right? 2-minute exclusive content.
Did you like the 2-minute warning? I liked it.
It didn't really.
Yeah, but I really was paying attention for Florida State, Georgia Tech.
Well, you were paying attention there because it seemed like Mike Norvell was going to have to make some timeout decisions right there, and he ended up not.
Yeah,
they never saw the ball again. But it seemed like that Mike Norvell might have to decide, am I going to call timeouts on this side of the 2-minute warning so I got time if I get the ball back after the field goal?
And he did, I think.
No, he chose not to. He let it run down to the 2 and then call timeout. Again, didn't matter. They never touched the ball again.
The Nevada coach did squeeze when SMU was moving. He squeezed a timeout before the 2-minute warning to try to rest his defense. Rest, 1 play, 2-minute warning. So
but they
got
was
double rest.
I remember the announcers in the SMU game saying SMU needs to hurry up and get a playoff before the 2-minute warning. They were on the 25.
Yeah.
Or it was
last
Nevada,
thing you want to do.
Yeah, whoever it was, I'm like, no, they've got plenty of time.
Yeah, that SMU Nevada broadcast. This is one of those compliments I paid to Lunceford that ends up not sounding like a compliment.
Okay.
Lunceford, your high school football broadcast at Thompson is better than the CBS Sports broadcast of the SMU Nevada game. Their camera
Thank
works.
you.
Yes, you should say it that way.
Their camera guy, whoever was on the high
20, he couldn't catch anything.
He, by the way, would have been fired from a high school game.
Yeah.
You'd have had a better chance having a drone shoot that game than that poor guy or girl. It was not good.
One time he had one of the blockers he thought had the ball coming out on a kickoff. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And he's following the blocker, and then he realizes it and has to double back to the guy that's actually got the ball.
Yeah. 2-minute warning did help crusty SMU, I thought, in that situation. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I thought they messed up the clock a little bit. It wouldn't have impacted the game. Kid still makes the field goal. But the Georgia Tech player absolutely landed out of bounds, and they let 40 seconds run off the clock instead of kicking it with 45 left. I don't think Florida State would have won. They'd had to have a miracle drive or a kick return or something. But I thought his elbow hit out first, and it should have been about 41 seconds left when he kicked the field goal. That's our show today on a Monday. Don't go anywhere. Overtime coming up. We'll check in with Kalen DeBoer and everything in Tuscaloosa and tell you more about the games coming up this weekend. All the platform stuff there, covercrimson.com, thebarnauburn.com. Go check it out today, our new team sites. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. Overtime's next. All right, welcome into overtime now as LT will bounce out and start taking care of some business. Brownie and I will talk you up to the Kalen DeBoer news conference. If you can give me the podium in Tuscaloosa there, and we will get to the Alabama head coach as soon as he makes his way up to the podium there, and we'll get rolling over there in Tuscaloosa. It'll be Kalen DeBoer's first game week news conference, and he's walking up right now, so let's listen in. Brought to you by our friends at roback.com, promo code TNR20. Go get 20% off your purchase right now, including the cool Alabama gear there. Thanks to the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Listening in.
They've put a lot of work in. The thing I guess I'm most impressed with is just how they've sustained a high level of energy, not just the first week or the first 2 weeks. They've really sustained a high level of energy, focus, all the way through camp. And, Saturday was, I think, a great example for us. Had a great practice, just a lot of, just get to work. The same thing I would expect tomorrow, but you kind of get that week out and things like that. And I was just really impressed with our guys' mindset. And yesterday, again, just getting the guys together and getting their workouts and just the film sessions and just the level of attention to detail. They're excited to play and excited to hit someone else. Really looking forward to this Saturday against a Western Kentucky team that, coached by Coach Helton. A lot of respect. I know our staff has a lot of respect, both sides of the ball, myself included. We know Coach Helton's done a great job there at Western Kentucky as well as the rest of his career. Going to be, a great football game. Got a coach with a offensive mindset. I think defensively we got to make sure we're aware of what they're going to do to attack us, and there's a lot of questions I think in both sides of the ball, all phases, especially the first game. Depth charts and things like that. You just pretty much looking at a roster and trying to place all the transfers and all the guys that are returning, especially on their team, trying to place those into spots that you might expect and figure out the numbers the best you can. So looking forward to another great week here, going into the game, and excited about it where we're at. So questions?
Start with left side, Chase.
Coach, at your introductory press conference in January, you mentioned you were asked about the offensive system from Washington, and you mentioned that to some extent you also need to play to your personnel. So going into week one, to what extent have you had to adjust what you did at Washington to suit the personnel you inherited?
Yeah, I think every year. It isn't even just about one school to another. I think it's the roster you have. And each year that gets tweaked a little bit. You might be running back, with a little more depth, or tight ends, is your one of your key areas. I think we're very balanced across all of the skill positions. And then, of course, you look at your quarterback, you look at the strength, what you can do offensive line-wise. And so it's never exactly from one year to the next, even if there's a lot of continuity, because you're going to lose someone. So there's certainly some adjustments that Coach Sheridan, our staff, has done in really working with the personnel. So, that will continue to evolve as the season goes along. You have guys that continue to improve, especially younger guys or guys that are kind of taking those next steps. They'll make those big steps, and you'll really incorporate them, and it might be a package at some point that they're incorporated in, and then all of a sudden it's something where they're a regular player and maybe even a starter.
Go back row right, Jamie, and we'll go to Ryan right after.
Hey, Coach, what do you get first game jitters about?
Well, I talked to the team, and I think what it really comes down to, and are you asking specifically for me? I don't know if you get like jitters, but I think it's good to have butterflies, right? It's good to have like an excitement, just excited for the week. And, we talk to our guys about, whether it's nervousness or anxiety, butterflies, that's not a bad thing, because it means it's really important. It means that they've put a lot into it and they want to perform well. I think it always comes down to your preparation. And if you've prepared the best you can and you're ready and, more than your opponent, and done everything possible all week long, as well as your teammates. And, when you're prepared well, you're going to be confident. And that's the whole key. That's the whole key. And it just doesn't start this week. It's something that's been ongoing since the day the staff got here, since the first day of workouts in the winter. There's just a mindset that's been happening. And, we talk about creating an attitude, not installing special plays that help your attitude. You create an attitude all year long. And so, if you're anxious and things like that, it means you're a little bit unsure. And so I really, I'm excited about the way we've prepared. And so, it's going to be important to these guys. For me, I think it's just a matter of making sure, again, I'm prepared with all the things, whether it's the schedule leading up to kickoff, whether it's just making sure, all the staff is aligned with our communication and how we want that to flow, that our guys understand, all the little details, especially a first game. We've gone through that over the last couple of weeks with little mock games and mock Saturdays, and talked about the hotel on Friday and Saturday, what that's all going to look like. We kind of wrapped that up on Saturday with some final things in the stadium, just on even which sideline and where the benches are and who's sitting where. And we've talked about the tablets and all that kind of stuff, and the coach-to-player communication. There's a lot of new things even this year that are specific to college football, but obviously there's even more when it comes to a new staff and just everyone being on the same page.
Stay in that area, Ryan.
Coach, piggybacking off of that, a two-parter, just to be a part of Saturday in Tuscaloosa. You were at the spring, but it's obviously a lot different. How excited are you and your family to be a part of that? And I asked Nick as well, do you have any traditions that you do before a game, something you eat, something the fans will learn more about you?
There is not a lot. Pretty boring, probably that way. Not a lot of things that I feel I have to. I mean, it's all about the schedule, and the schedule, I guess, would probably be the thing I feel the most strong about, that you're eating within a certain time frame before the game, and what that morning walkthrough looks like, and kind of roughly when that is. It changes if it's a morning game, afternoon game, evening game, but I also want to hear what our players have done, and so there's a couple things on Friday that we'll tweak maybe from what I've done, and it's really, I've been okay with it at other places. It's just a matter of, those teams didn't want to do some of those things. It might be when you do your chapel, might be when the other activities, do teams like go to movies and things like that on Friday. So a lot of those things, I think from team to team, it's always different.
Back over to the left side, Tony.
Nick Sheridan said you were the one that asked for an injury update. Do you have specific updates maybe on Jaden Roberts, Jam Miller, and Jeremiah Alexander?
Yep. Jaden and Jam, I would expect to practice and be ready to go. And then who's the third one? Jeremiah. Would not probably expect him. And I know, you guys have seen him and just know the timeline, but he'll be close. He'll be close.
All right, Emily Grace, back right.
Coach, this time a year ago, you were prepping for your first game at Washington, and now you're here wearing crimson. What's the most important thing that you've learned about yourself in the last year or so?
I think you just always are confirming the things that you believe in, whether it's football related, whether it's just staff related, and how you bring a team together. You just always trying to adjust and evolve, but also confirm the things that are like your real deep beliefs. And a year ago, a lot of those things continue to just be verified. And as we bring it together, you kind of look to those things and are counting on those things to help build this team and what we're trying to accomplish here at Alabama.
Charlie, on the right side.
Hey, Coach. After the first couple of days of camp, you spoke highly about the steps that Jalen Milroe took. Just how have you seen him maybe continue on that trajectory over the course of the preseason?
Sure, he's been consistent, and that's what I think one of the biggest qualities that you can have is consistent. Obviously you want it consistently at the highest level you possibly can, but you want to walk on the field, and this is for any player, but I think this is something that Jalen's done a better and better job of since we've gotten here, and it's what you're going to get when you get out there. Whether it's the attitude and the effort. Again, the play on the field. There really haven't been some crazy highs or crazy lows. I think he's just continuing to build, continuing to work with his guys, whether it's the offensive line and the communication and making sure he's on the same page with maybe protections, run checks or whatever it might be, the receiving core on timing of routes, a lot of communication. I think he continued to grow and evolve, as well. So the consistency, I really have an appreciation for what he's done. He's been really patient going way back to the spring on letting us, just put the offense in the progression that we're used to and the things that we see. You always see things that you want to get in, and these are the things that you did really well, and we get to those. But there's a progression with the teaching that's happened, and I just appreciate the patience he's had from the very beginning when we got here on getting through all of it and now being ready to play week 1.
Time for a few more questions, starting with Stephen.
Coach, can you speak on just the consistency of Caleb Oldham as a complete receiver?
Yeah, Caleb, as a young guy coming in, he really, turned our heads, this spring, just because it felt like he was always lined up in the right spot and never did see him overwhelmed physically with his height. There was times where he actually stood out and made some really big plays and continued to do that. Going over the top of guys is something that, is going to be, a great value to our football team, not just this year, but in the years to come. So he's just been steady, that's a great quality. And I think he is someone who really, looks at things and learns from his mistakes, obviously, but also learns from others. And so got a great want to about him. He really wants to do big things, and each and every day puts in the work. So I'm proud of what he's done up to this point. You put him out on the football field, and you're not really looking at him worried about, man, does he know what he's doing? That's not the case with him.
Got questions standing up all the way in the back.
What will you be thinking about the moment you walk out of the tunnel at game time on Saturday, knowing this is the real thing?
Yeah, I think when it gets to this now, you're in, game mode. And as much as this is a different setting for me, this is another football game, and every game is really big and important. And so you're in game mode, making sure, again, all the kind of the things we had talked about earlier, the communication's all in order, and the teams, what's the coin toss and how are we operating there? Just all those little steps that you take. I can't say it's going to be that much different. I think the spring game for me probably is one of those moments where you have some perspective on, how far we come and as a team and where we're at. But this is about, playing our game and doing what we need to do and making sure we're at the highest level possible.
Go to Nick on the front right, then we'll wrap up with Katie. Go ahead, Nick.
You mentioned the helmet communications. What are you telling your coaches, and what's your approach in terms of not overwhelming with information, but presenting enough information?
I thought they've done a really good job the last couple weeks. Really, the scrimmages, we really tried to lock in on, the times where, just what's this going to feel like? And there's 2 major scrimmages, but we scrimmage and move the ball a lot against each other, offense and defensively, all through fall camp. And so the just trying to really hone in on that one thing that might be something you say or nothing at all, and trying to learn also when you talk to especially your quarterback, what's he remembering? Is it worth saying it at all? I think a lot of times it's probably just going to be worth coming on the sideline. But there are some, I think, key things where you can get something to him right after a play, about the situation, that you might be going into, or, something that maybe just happened that, as maybe there's a delay in the game with officials and things like that, to where you might be able to get a few comments and thoughts in. So I think our staff, especially obviously we're talking about Nick Sheridan, Kane Womack, I think they've done a great job really trying to really refine how they want that communication to happen, and working closely with those players who wear the communication, the devices in their helmets, really, what do you like, what don't you like? So game happens fast. I want to make sure that these guys are able to play fast. The preparation, again, throughout the week, the preparation we've had all fall camp, that's what these guys got to really rely on for most of what they're gonna get. And in between series, hey, we'll talk all we want. The tablets, all that kind of stuff comes into play, and really be ready to go out for the next series.
All right, Katie.
Nick Saban said on ESPN this weekend that when he watched the second scrimmage that it looked like the team still had the same culture from when he was here. Just kind of how do you think you were able to accomplish that, and how much of that was the returning players kind of trying to, and you said when you got here the standard is Alabama, how were the returning players kind of helpful in keeping that same standard?
Yeah, well, I think Coach certainly pushed that standard each and every day, and fortunately we have a lot of guys who understand what that's supposed to look like. And it's great that we have those leaders, our players. We have some staff, with a few coaches that were here with Coach, and they've continued to just be front and center in leading the rest of the guys that are new to the program or new players that have come in. And it's something I know we care for a lot with the culture of our program. Very, very, it's an important deal to me. And there's a style of play that wins football games, and that's really what we're focused on. But there's a lot of details and a lot of things off the field that are really important to, playing at the highest level and being this program that's been at that level for so many years, so many decades. So, but yeah, I appreciate those comments from Coach and that perspective.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you. Roll Tide.
Yep, that's the Kalen DeBoer news conference there in overtime with us today. Hugh Freeze goes later today out of his normal time for the first week. So we'll have Hugh Freeze and Kalen DeBoer in this time starting next Monday and live on Labor Day, and they'll be leading in to Unlocked, which will be coming up at 1 o'clock starting next Monday, part of our Monday lineup that includes Brock Heward and Lance Taylor at 1 o'clock. I love the in-helmet communication answer from him, because that was my big takeaway from week one. Is I thought it looked clunky with Florida State, and I thought it slowed SMU way down. And Kalen DeBoer said right there that we've had conversations that sometimes we may not say anything.
Yeah,
we're going to say very little, and we're going to talk a lot to them during series changes, but we're going to say very little because the game goes fast, and we want it to go fast. We don't want to clutter it up. If they're able to execute that better than what Florida State and SMU did, and I know Florida State and SMU will get better at it, but it did not look like it was a smooth operation for them.
Well,
at some point, I expected to see Mike Norvell and Rhett Lashley walk over to those helmets and just rip the things out, and let's go back to the signs.
They were doing it in losable situations. I mean, SMU could have easily lost that game. Florida State did. Alabama will not be, so that is a plus there, is that if there are any kinks, this is a good time to work it out, is against Western Kentucky. So, it will be interesting to get his response after the game, and Hugh Freeze too after they play Saturday night, because he told us back at SEC Media Days they were behind the curve for most teams on their ability to use it so far. So I will be. Both of them are in a good situation though in those terms of learning it, because you're doing it against an overmatched opponent that you're playing. Also thought obviously you don't have to have it to win this game, But good news that Jaden Roberts and Jam Miller are likely to play, it appears, on Saturday.
Or would at least be available.
Yeah, available, if you needed them.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's the first Monday news conference from Kalen DeBoer. Forrester, I was about to say we, but really it's Forrester. We'll sift through all the WOMAC and the Nick Sheridan news conference from earlier. And, well, as we do all week long, we'll have the best sound for you leading into the big game coming up Saturday nights, both for Alabama and Auburn. Remember, UAB goes on Thursday night this week at Protective Stadium. We got a couple of Thursday night SEC games as well. You get the massive in-state battle between Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Arkansas, 6:30 on ESPNU. Murray State and Missouri rolling on Thursday night, 7 o'clock SEC Network. We'll see if that game is sold out. It's week 1, folks. We're ready to go. That's our overtime today. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. Content all the time at crimsoncover.com and thebarnauburn.com, our team sites. Go check that out. Until next time, we'll see you.